What's going on, people? I would like to welcome you to a brand new episode of No Neutral. And oh my goodness, am I feeling good today because CPT Brazil, you guys delivered. I mean, oh my goodness, I can't wait to talk about my guy, Ronaldinho, one of my favorite footballers growing up. Yes, Big Hollywood watch football, but before we get into all of that, I want to make sure that I give a big shout out to our counterparts over there holding it down at Capcom Fighters Japan. Always much love to all of you guys over there, and of course the Japanese viewers. Brian, how are you feeling going into today's episode, bro?
I am feeling amazing. I feel rejuvenated with the level of Street Fighter V extraordinaire we saw this past weekend, and the level of community passion, really. I feel like that was one of the best examples of a community banding together, supporting their own players, and just really bringing the hype throughout the weekend. But before we get into that, I think you had someone from the community you wanted to highlight. Was there something, a troll of the week maybe you wanted to mention?
Yeah, definitely. That's actually true. If we can pull up this tweet right now, we can see that my man Brian F just put such a beautiful and just eloquently worded tweet up about Big Hollywood. And I want to say this right here, right now, Brian. I'm proud of you for being honest like that. A lot of people wouldn't want to be that honest. You know, I know we're putting this in the troll of the week so we can act like that you weren't serious. And I know we agreed to do that before we started recording. But I know how serious you were, and I appreciate you for that, brother.
Well, right. Just remember the name of the segment. Anyways, we don't need it. Let's talk about some actual Street Fighter action here. Let's talk about CPT Brazil 1. First of all, you already mentioned Ronaldinho. Let me get that correct. Let me put some respect on my man's name. Has claimed his spot in Capcom Cup 2021, rocking one of the most offensive Nashes I have seen to date. We'll get a bit more into the details of that, but I just got to highlight, I love his approach to the character and his usage of V-Trigger 2, which is the second time we've seen Nash in Grand Finals back-to-back rocking that V-Trigger 2. I think we're in the era of a new type of Nash. But before we get into the details, I just want to give a shout out to the rest of the top 8 placers. Diddy Mokoff, one of the most consistently strong Dulcims in the business. New player to me, Neguinho, rocking that Alex Sleaton there in 5th place. Dark, my guy Dark, rocking one of the cleanest G's in the business. Big fan of him, placing 5th. Paulo Webb in 4th place, rocking I believe Poison and as well as the signature Laura. Zangief Bolado, one of the surprise players to me this week, and coming in 3rd with an extremely strong performance, just barely missing out on making that grand finals appearance to, of course, Jaleshe, who I think has established himself as like the premier, besides of course our man this weekend, he's like the premier Brazil player who's gotten back to grand finals again, proving that 2020 performance was no fluke, right? He came out extremely strong in 2020, winning I believe the 2nd qualifier very convincingly, and then his performance against Piccolo and the CPT finals is extremely strong as well. So it's really good to see him kind of like repeat that level of performance and get into grand finals again. But this time, you know, all the props go to the winner, Ronaldinho. 1st place with Nash. Nash has won a CPT event for the first time since 2017.
Man, and I'll tell you what, Brian, I'm going to take this opportunity to Sonic Scythe into Moonsault right through a couple of fables. Because, you know, Brian, whenever I see something like this, my heart, it flutters, bro. It flutters with joy. Everyone who complains about all of these characters, oh my goodness, the matchups, they're just too bad, Brian. I don't understand what you guys want me to do. I mean, my character isn't top tier. That's the only reason that I'm not as good as Ronaldinho. Hold up, did you say Ronaldinho? Did you say he plays Nash? Did you say that he made it into Capcom Cup, just like my man Frozen was one spot away from doing? Now listen, I understand. Yes, Nash did get some buffs, but you would have to be, I mean, I got a bridge to tell you if you really think that Nash is all of a sudden strong as, let's say, a Cammy or something like that off of the buff that he received. Like, let's be serious. So with that being the case, guys, I always got to drill it into the everyone's head when it comes to the scene. Make sure you guys remember this. Focus on your game, your play style, play the characters that you want to play, and in the end of the day, you can get the results that you want to attain. So big props to my man's Ronaldinho, man. And I'll tell you what, I love that V-Trigger 2. I love the V-Trigger 2 usage, man. But in the end of the day, not that I don't want to move away from his V-Trigger 2 usage too much. It's just that most matchups, in the end of the day, it comes down to adjustments. It comes down to player reads. So the thing that I want to get into, bro, is that grand finals. Of course, the whole run was amazing. But come on now, bro. He goes into grand finals. Jaleshe is on fire at this point, going through the loser side, right? We already know how it goes. When you make it, if we could choose, Brian, we're gonna be on the grand finals winner side. We're not gonna try to make it through losers, right? But Brian, what is the negative side to make it through winner side?
You're cold. You're cold. You gotta wait. You gotta sit there and enjoy the show while you're waiting to get into that grand finals.
Frozen, even, Brian.
To see who's gonna be frozen and waiting to see who has earned the right to come play. That can make you complacent a little bit. Well, not complacent, but it does slow your momentum down.
Yeah.
You don't got your hands on the sticks. You're not fired up. And Jaleshe had just come off the heels of that incredibly close set with Zengi Pilato, but Pilato, who had put him into losers 3-2 in the first place. Jaleshe had to come back. I think he was down 2-1 in that losers finals. Had to win 2 straight to secure that spot. So he's feeling the momentum. And his Rashid, especially, I mean Rashid in general, but Jaleshe's Rashid especially thrives off that momentum. He knows how to approach with different speeds, different angles. That's how he always gets his openings. He's sitting in that one spot. You don't know if he's going to dash, jump, play the footsies game, preemptively check who's standing fierce, and that momentum is what he thrives off of. So he brought that directly to Ronaldinho, because that grand finals first set, I mean, I was watching the VODs.
It was free, bro.
It was under 8 minutes for a 3-0 for the reset. I mean, it was domination. It flew by faster than I was like, are these timestamps correct? Like, I didn't understand when I was looking at it that this reset had happened this fast. And half that VOD was the interview, which was a spectacular interview in the end. But after that, they went back to character select, went back to kind of reset their mental game. And that's when we saw the adaptation take place. And that's when we saw the comeback from Ronaldinho, another 3-0, but this time to take the whole tournament. And I love the adjustment, and he even mentioned it himself. Like, that's why I'm now a lifelong fan of Ronaldinho, because not only did he make the adjustment, he was able to vocalize and pinpoint exactly what he did. And I feel like that's something that not many players possess that skill as well, to be able to make that adjustment and be able to explain it so clearly. He pointed out, he's like, look, I'm playing the mid-range game. He's able to swing his big buttons and control that space too comfortably, control with crouching fierce, maybe standing fierce, and then because I'm not controlling that space where he has these big crush counters that confirm damage, he can also risk the dash. Jaleshe is so good at dashing. Like, he knows when you want to preemptively check and like whiff punish your buttons with a dash. You whiff your button trying to check his movement, he dashes right after and gets in. Medium punch, maybe he'll whiff punish you after that or get the pressure going. And he recognized he wasn't controlling that space. So he mentions he adapted by throwing more fireballs. That's the adaptation he provided, which gave him more control in the neutral. But in general, I love this style because I think we're seeing the death of the hit and run Nash. Maybe I'll be proven wrong later on in the CPT, who knows? Nash is making a comeback. But these past 2 CPTs have shown this V-Trigger 2 usage. And I also got to mention, I think those buffs, they matter. I think they matter.
Oh, they do. They do. Big time.
They matter. That little extra 10% juice, it matters. And what I think is happening now is Nash has entered the Street Fighter V meta with that V-Trigger 2 and all those extra usages, because he now gets the damage from finding the one opening. The hit and run was just not cashing out enough for Nash in previous seasons. So like, even if he was harassing you with some space normals, some scythes here and there, he got a throw, who cares? Like, at the end of that throw sequence, you're just gonna get chipped a little bit. If you get that one hit, you're gonna hit him 20 times harder than he's hit you, like tickling you with his little mediums and jabs here and there. Now he gets actual damage from his V-Trigger 2. All the extensions he receives, he can afford to sit there, block it out, find that one jump cross up and confirm into the V-Trigger 2 or get the extra turns. He cashes out much harder now, and that's why I love these V-Trigger 2 Nashes that are coming out of the woodworks and making deep runs in these brackets and qualifying, because they're showing that Nash has graduated. I think he's playing Street Fighter V now for the first time since Season 1.
Well, you know, I feel like Nash has... I would agree that he hasn't always been playing conventional Street Fighter V. He hasn't always been like the best when it comes to rush down, things of that nature. But I do not think that these buffs mark, or these performances mark, the end of the hit and run style of Nash. I want to make sure people remember my guy Knuckle Dude. He was using Nash against Rashid players at the highest level. This is why we were playing in Street Fighter League and everything. And he's gotten some big wins up against Rashid players. And the way he did it, that fireball game, one of the big things is the fact that since the way Nash's fireball travels, and you know, it's kind of like a very wide hitbox on it. it's hard for Rashid to just V-skill roll under it on reaction. So that makes the fireball game extra tough for him. And of course, Rashid doesn't have like the most ridiculous walk speed in the world. So now you're going to make him take a bit more risk if you want to play the more runaway, keep away game that Knuckle do like to play. But outside of just making the actual direct matchup adjustments, again, I always want to go to the player adjustments. I remember Logan Sama immediately made a tweet because he thought after the 3-0, I saw Logan like, yo, let's pack this thing up because it's over, right? Fun. Yeah, he was like, this was fun. At this point, it's a foregone conclusion. And then by the end of it, I saw him make a tweet like, Ja Leche, please anti-air, bro. Like, please anti-air one of these things. And that's something where Rashid, as a character, is fully equipped, even better than most, to do a crouch medium punch, to do a just a quarter circle forward punch for his heavy mixer to anti-air. Nash isn't able to switch his trajectory in the air or anything like that. But even with that being the case, Ja Leche had a player weakness in that moment. He had that exposed. So no matter what the character matchup may be, what does the character matchup have to do with, is this guy gonna check my dashes right now? Right. It's on you to overwhelm their mental stack and take advantage of those things. And Ronaldinho did an amazing job of doing just that.
Right, the mental game, and I like that you brought up the mental stack comparison here, because I really feel like these two players play similar. I really felt that way, because his offense was totally based on things that are reactable. They're all reactable in a vacuum, right?
Like moonsault.
The thing is, the moonsault, it's reactable. But you mentioned he can't change the arc. He commits to the moonsault from the beginning of it, but there is a slight millisecond where you're not sure, like, is he going to go over me? Like, every once in a while, even Frozen was incorporating that, doing like the heavy moonsault where they bait your anti-air, and then you feel dumb and you just get hit on the other side, they land and recover and punish you. Like, it's a little gimmicky, but you throw it out here and there because it catches you by surprise, and then you go, wait a minute, I can't just preemptively anti-air every time I see him go start up with that animation. Next time, you hesitate a little, you might anti-air too late, or you just end up blocking and he gets the plus frames, he gets to pressure you. On top of that, Nash's jump angle, he kind of has a weird little high jump angle. Every once in a while, you might get caught off guard. I saw plenty of turns stolen where he jumped cross up. You mentioned a heavy spinning mixer. That definitely would anti-air that every time, both sides. Rashid has a clear-cut answer to that. However, you still have to be ready. And I love how he's able to mix the dash, the fireball, the space control, the jumps, the moonsaults. He incorporated that all and mixed his options so many ways, just like how Rashid usually does, but he did that with Nash instead. And on top of that, that V-Trigger 2 extension at the end, like I said, he could afford to sit there and wait for his opportunity. His defense was amazing. That's really what I think sold it, because John Leche could not get started because he blocked out all the pressure. He said, throw me. Go ahead and throw me. And when you finally go to throw me, I'm going to jump over you with my jump cross up at that sharp angle, take my turn back because you went for the throw finally, and then I'm going to do damage and actually get extended turns and pressure with V-Trigger 2. It's the human element of it. Like, he understands that he can overwhelm the offense in that moment, and if your opponent's not checking it, you run with it. You recognize a weakness, and it might just be on that day for that set in that moment. It might not work ever again, right? But that's not what is important. The important thing is, do you recognize, do you smell the blood in the water, and do you strike then? Because after that set, after in the interview, he mentioned Ja Leche is his nemesis, his demon, his tournament demon. He says, usually I lose.
He said, no, Ja Leche, no.
When Ja Leche was making the comeback against Zangief, he was like, wait a minute, I wanted that Zangief matchup. You know what I'm saying? Like, I won 3-1 in winners. You know, it's a pretty smooth sailing matchup for Nash. One of the few that even before the buffs, where the dust hasn't really settled on the matchups yet right now with the new meta. But
that was a bad matchup though.
That was a bad matchup for Geef, where Nash generally could play. Even when he was considered the worst character in the game, he could play. So, as the Nash player, you're kind of wanting that easy matchup. So he was concerned that his nemesis was coming back to haunt him in his moment for that grand final. But he remained clutch, he remained composed, he adapted, and he took down his tournament nemesis.
Yeah, and Brian, that I feel like that perfectly goes into our next subject here, which we're going to be talking about tournament demons. How do you actually overcome your tournament demons? And Ronaldinho was able to do so to actually win the most important tournament of his career and make it into Capcom Cup so far. And Brian, when you had to go up against your tournament demon just to not have to make a simple tweak, you weren't able to get the victory. So I hope that you were able to learn a thing or two by watching Ronaldinho right there, man.
Well, I did. I learned that even though, I win the last tournament match, maybe you lose the long set. And, it depends on what's more important to you, right?
That's fair.
The tournament set is sometimes, maybe you win the tournament 2-0. Maybe Ronaldinho wins this tournament 3-0 against Jaleche, and then they go back to practicing and he gets smoked for a while. That definitely happens. And I think that's something that people don't always understand is you can beat people in tournament who can consistently beat your ass. That is a fact.
100%. And it's legitimate wins. It ain't no luck.
Right. And it's not necessarily because they're playing bad or whatever. Like, you can just play a different meta game in a short set versus a training session versus a longer set. And that's the kind of mentality you have to adapt. And you have to, there's a skill to beating players who are better than you. Like, that's something you have to be able to do as a competitor.
But that's not a tournament, and that's something that I wanted to clarify. That is not a tournament demon to me. A tournament demon, for me personally,
like someone who beats you every time.
To me, a tournament demon has always been someone who you guys are on a similar skill level. However, that person always beats you.
Right.
But let's say you going up against, Taquito or something, and Taquito is just literally, like, if you guys go up against other players, a large sample size, Taquito is going to win way more than you're going to win. Like, Taquito places higher on average, XYZ. He's just a stronger player than you. So if you lose Taquito all the time, he's a different league. That's not a tournament demon. It's more so like, okay, we get similar results and stuff, but when we play heads up, you always lose. So Brian, I'm not saying that as a joke towards you or nothing like that. I was saying that literally as
I
like
know, because you're not allowed to say that anymore. Maybe last month or something, not anymore.
But, in all seriousness, as far as how to overcome this, right, you have to identify, this sounds like straightforward at first, you have to identify why you're losing. Sometimes it's a character matchup issue. Sometimes you just don't. Let's say, for example, Karen versus Sagat. That's a matchup that I have been working on so much. And recently, I just went up against, I don't like to be name drop people, but like a few elite, what I would consider elite Sagat players in pretty decently important situations, a tournament, and I was able to get very convincing wins. But just a couple weeks before that, I wouldn't have been able to get it. But it wasn't like as far as overcoming that, it's not like I studied the players and seen their tendencies and made adjustments for that. It wasn't anything like that. I realized, like, okay, and the way you can identify that is the person that you're considering, like maybe you're a demon or whatever it may be, whatever character they play, they're whatever skill level, right? Like, let's say Ultimate Grandmaster or Warlord or whatever. Do you also have a bit of trouble with like a Diamond Sagat as well? Do you have a bit, or whatever your skill level may be, you know what I mean? If you're a platinum, do you have a bit of trouble with the super gold Guile or something like that as well? At that point, there's a high chance that you have to make some type of character matchup adjustments. Now, if you beat everyone else who use these type of characters or whatever, right? Then at that point, that's when, in my opinion, you have to make a player adjustment. And you're going to have to go in there into the lab. And when I say lab, I don't mean training mode. I mean hitting that replay channel and, make your adjustments from there. It takes a whole lot of thinking.
Yeah, I agree. I like how you mentioned that it's not about people or players who are just better than you, or maybe like you just have to recognize who are your peers. I think that's very important to understand. Yeah. Who are your peers? When are you going against someone who is consistently beating you, but they're your peer? Like, you definitely should be able to win against them, but they're beating you. You need to unlock the secret behind that, versus someone who you need to graduate to that tier. So, for instance, for my personal experience, IDOM, on record, I've never had a worse tournament demon in my life, but I also consider IDOM to be kind of like the graduating level. Do I think I could beat him if I put in the work? Yes, of course. I'm not putting a mental block on myself saying it's impossible, but I think if I beat him, I'm not going to say he's my demon because he's clearly just a more accomplished player. I need to do the work to get to that level to beat him and earn the right to beat him and like get to that level where I can consistently make that performance. However, I've had other tournament demons. I would consider someone like Shine. I still consider Shine to be a bit more consistent and placed better than me on just look at the results.
Yeah,
right?
but no, Shine's like a similar.
I felt that he was my peer, the upper boundary of it. But I felt like if I could do some kind of studying, I could be able to get that. that win over him, and he beat me for forever. And my approach to it wasn't as much as matchup. There's a bit of that, of course, but I felt like our character matchups were fine, Balrog Ibuki, right, in that instance. I just did a lot of thinking, honestly, thinking, and I do mental replays. I think tournament demons come down to thinking about what's going on. Do you add more of this or take away? For me, a lot of the times you have to think about, when are you getting hit? What are these situations where you're opening yourself up to damage? Should I be pressing this button in this situation? Is it even worth it to overextend or not? Sometimes you play players who just punish all of your footsie habits. Sometimes you need to just eliminate options from your gameplay entirely. That's generally where I found success versus the Shine example. I found if I don't extend myself in neutral, the damage output I get from getting a poke to a knockdown is not worth the mix and pressure he gets from with punishing me and getting that momentum. Just do less and push to the corner. And that was able to finally get me a win after losing like 1,000 straight to him. I finally got a few wins under my belt. Right now, I feel like I understand how to approach him a bit more. Another one for me would be like Space Boy, similar situation. He's still cooking me, but I managed to get more wins when I recognized the sort of the player matchup tendencies of don't overextend, right? So to me, it's mental replays. I often like to pull up physical replays, but I like to be in the shower, like massaging the thoughts into my head. What was he cooking me with? Like those shower thoughts I have are about that dude who beat me in that tournament, that last NLVC. I sit there just mulling the match over and over in my head. And that's how you got to approach it, because if I agree, focus on the character matchups if it's there, but recognize when it's something you're doing wrong. I think that's something you have to do, and that could be very tough for new players, because I think new players also just tend to kind of flowchart sometimes the same options. You need to be able to break habits. When someone is beating you consistently, they have you downloaded. You need to break the mold and change from there.
If you guys, again, are of a similar skill level as Brian brought up. And a big word that I want to point out, and what you just so eloquently put there, is thinking. And it's so difficult to try to explain to someone how to be creative. There's so much that goes into it, but I will still make my wholehearted attempt. There's this TED Talk. I don't remember the exact title, but it's about creativity. And the whole concept is putting yourself in a box. Usually, of course, it's think outside the box on it, right? But basically, when you are stuck and you're forced to be resourceful, that's when you become the most creative, because you have no choice but to be. So I'll give you guys some examples, because I think this is the best way to explain this. Lud up against NuckleDu before NuckleDu retired recently. This was like in a NLBC just last year. NuckleDu destroyed all Chun-Li players, so he would have to be considered in G versus Chun-Li. He would have to be considered the tournament demon of any Chun-Li player in the world, Lud included. So the issue in the matchup is that usually Chun-Li wants to control the neutral game with her amazing long pokes, right, and her walk speed. But G has that amazing fireball, especially once he gets to level 2. But pretty much the neutral game was horrendous, so it felt like Chun-Li couldn't really press anything. The risk reward wasn't there. So Chun-Li, but now I don't really have great buttons. The G's anti-airs are great. I jump pretty slow. Lud thought, and what he did was, okay, I won't press anything in neutral. I won't do anything. So the matches became so slow. Dude didn't know dude knew what was going on, but it's not like he had an amazing counter strategy for it. And it made it so that whenever Lud did move to go for a button, whenever Lud did, for one, he's not really giving up any free damage. And for two, his movement is a lot harder to read, because he's moving so seldomly. And and it was easier for him to pick up on dudes' timings, things of that nature. And he achieved a whole lot of success with this strategy. But notice how none of those things are simple X's and O's. It's more so stuff that you think about, again, shower thoughts and putting yourself in that box. And if you do that, and again, identify, is it a character issue? Is it a player issue? And as far as addressing it, how can I put myself in this box and be creative? At that point, you'll be able to beat all of your tournament demons. Now, we've talked about tournament demons and all that, Brian. But right now, I'm trying to see some devilish nooch or heavenly, depending on which side you want to play, in this Middle East 1 top 16. Oh my goodness, it's about to be beautiful, Brian. You already know who I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I think I know who a lot of people are excited to see, but I want to shout out the region as a whole first. So this is the first time we've had a CPT Middle East like dedicated region for Street Fighter V. So last season they were kind of grouped together with Eastern Europe. So now we have a dedicated Middle East region, and we have, of course, the birds. The birds are coming here to do work. We have Angry Bird and Big Bird returning to the CPT stage. Two of the most decorated Street Fighter V players. Some of the youngest players too, who are doing a lot of work overall in Street Fighter V. So of course, Big Bird, Evo finalist, and one of the best. How many characters can I attribute to him now? He's one of the best Kens originally.
I was gonna say his
one of the
Ken
best
is back now.
Rashids. Ken is back. We see him play lots of Ken lately. I honestly don't know who he's going to bring to the table for the CPT event. I love how these two love to mix up the characters, adapt to the meta fast, play with a whole bunch of the cast. They're known for just picking what's cheap, what's effective, and playing it to the highest level. So of course, looking for them to do lots of work in this CPT. But there's other players in the region that I want to shout out as well. GTR, he's one of the most interesting guild players out there, and he was first on my radar because whenever I would see a highlight clip from one of the birds, they're training with this guild, and I'm like, who's this guild? Who's this guy doing mad work? And so GTR, I hope to see some highlights from him this weekend. He's in the bracket. Volcano Rosso, he got 7th place in the Eastern Europe, Middle East last year, 7th place with his Guile. Hydra Marine as well, rocking that Urian. He got 5th place in the CPT Middle East number 2 last year as well. So big mix of players and a lot of new faces, of course, that get a chance to represent the region and to show off in the Middle East. So I'm really excited to see the mix of players that are coming to play this weekend.
Yeah, 100%, man. And you know, I like the fact that you brought up the fact that last year it was EU East and Middle East. They were actually paired together. And that was one of the big things that even started up this conversation of needing to redistribute the regions. Because from what I understand, they're like I don't remember the exact miles, but the miles from like the Middle Eastern region to like Norway and stuff where like Phenom is at is just ridiculous. So they were pretty much trying to like plan on a slideshow type connections. So now I know that a lot of these guys are extremely excited to show what they actually can do. And you know, Big Bird and Angry Bird, like of course much love to all those players that you brought up there, but I feel like with like Big Bird and Angry Bird, it's like on one hand it has to feel amazing, right? Like a lot of people are probably envious, like, man, I wish I was in a region where I was one of the two clear by far favorites, and it looked like the next players were like a rungs down, at least in public perception, right? But what about the extra pressure that they made that may add? Like, yes, when you look at something like United States East, or let's say even CPT Japan, does Takedo look bad for not winning CPT Japan? No, not at all. So when it comes to this, these guys are put under a microscope every single match. When your opponent is going up against you, you know, any player with any type of name, it makes it so that your opponent sometimes can feel like, yo, I'm supposed to lose anyway. I have nothing to lose here, you know? And all of a sudden, the reads that they're gonna make, and it's a CPT online, it's a lot harder to make these reads when you have to fly to the other side of the country or fly to another country and you put money into that flight, into that hotel, or your sponsor sent you there, or XYZ. It's a whole different type of energy. But when you put add in the fact that, okay, this is online, so they're going to be even more confident, and then I'm going up against Big Bird or Angry Bird in bracket and pools or something, and I have nothing to lose, man, that's not really an enviable position. However, that's one of the reasons why Big Bird and Angry Bird are where they are. That's one of the reasons why they have the names that they have. And I think that they are going to be showing that in this event. And you know what? Right now, in Middle East Top 16 and Middle East 1, ladies and gentlemen, I want to see who that person is. Who can make the birds look as free as a bird now? Coming up in this next top 16, and oh my goodness, I can't wait.
Can't start the show without the star.
The main event!
Fight!
Line it up. son really made.
Pleased to meet you.
The honor was mine. I'll settle this.
I'm shaking here.
Bow down before my psycho power. It ain't too late to run off to Mom now.
These matches are going to be even more ridiculous.
If you know anything about Street Fighter, you do not doubt the GOAT.
My man is always hitting go. You thought I was playing? Oh, you're hella dead.
The main event.
Help me out, Nadeshko.
And look how much it means to him! Wow!
Not over! That's not over! Are you serious? My man is reading right now. My man is reading. Hold on.
Welcome to another edition of the Capcom Pro Tour. We are here, me and Vicious, with Middle East 1. It is a clean 5 in the morning for us here on the West Coast of the United States, but it's all about the Middle East, where it's a clean 4 p.m. over there, and they are in prime position to find out who gets in the top 8 tomorrow.
Yeah, who has to sleep, man? Honestly, who can't sleep with the fact that we have the top 16 ready for the Middle East? Again, it's going to be pretty wild in terms of character diversity, and I'll tell you why. But first off, let's take a look at the quarterfinals here in the top 16. Angry Bird versus Night Masters. I feel like we're Night Masters right now. Going up in the first game. UAE 2020 going up against Mature. Big Bird versus Volcano Russell. Big fan of the name. Of course, Metozuru and GTR to round up the winner's side. Let's take a look down below and who we have in our pool of sharks as well. This is where it gets pretty nitty-gritty.
Oh, yes. LA versus DF to start it off, and then we're going to fall to Ice Candy versus Nurzhul. Again, Benny Best versus Plus Ultra.
Yeah.
And then we got Dragon Slayer going up against a 3900M at the bottom. So I can't wait to see who is going to be bringing the heat today. Of course, you mentioned that we got a lot of character variety as well. I know a couple of these players have upwards of 3 to 4 characters that they're going to play just themselves, right? So we're going to see if they adjust with the matchup, how it's going to go down. But I can't wait to get it started, man.
That guy at the very bottom.
3900M.
So I thought it was 3900M, like out of mana, just
Oh.
because I'm there. But he's one of those cats that has a wide variety of characters, and we kind of have that represented throughout the entirety of our top 16, right? That person alone is bringing a Zeku, Rashid, Dalsim, Ibuki, as listed, right? But also a big fun fact, too. Plus Ultra. Okay, not only does he have a cool name, but he's also bringing Manat to the table. So you know what that means? There's only one character who hasn't been represented in the top 16 yet, and that is Edmund Honda.
Wow. Of all the characters to be absent from a top 16 so far at CPT, I feel like the Hondas were celebrating.
That's what I'm saying.
They've been celebrating for, I feel like, 3 years now. Or whenever the character came out, he's just been getting buffed and buffed and buffed. And I always see Ultra David tweeting like a madman on Twitter, like, oh my God, Edmund Honda ready for a complete top 8 of only E Honda, but still absent from even the top 16.
One. That is correct. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty diverse overall, right? Seth and G right off the bat with Angry Bird and Night Masters. There's also an Abigail. There's Ryu/Alex from the side of Mature. Rashid from Big Bird, as always. Volcano Russell using Guile. Also probably bringing out Sagat, as listed. Metozuru with Juri. GTR with Ryu as well. It's going to be pretty Shoto-ish.
Yeah, I'm glad to see it, right? Because Ryu obviously got some much-needed buffs. That low forward is definitely a tool in the footsie game to be reckoned with now. His fireballs got great speed, especially in the V-trigger. The V-trigger fireballs actually drain so little of the overall meter. He just gets to pump out the projectiles over and over again. So I'm definitely looking forward to what the Ryus bring to the table, because I just want to see that type of character rise in the meta, right? That's what I was kind of talking about on my stream and whatnot. When it comes to the balance of Street Fighter V nowadays, is that I want to see characters that weren't in the meta or haven't been in the meta for a really long time be in that spotlight that they don't have.
Yeah. And you kind of see that a lot with some other characters too, especially in the loser side. When we start diving into them, we have like a Bison, a Ken, Nikali, another Jury, and a Urian. Urian, again, being one of those characters that has been shooting up in the ranks a lot online, in the online atmosphere of Street Fighter V, but just overall in the results too. We've seen a handful of them, but some of these characters, again, we rarely get to see. We rarely get to see Zeku's. We rarely get to see Ken, really. Like, realistically, we rarely get to see Ken. Nikali as well, but man, it's been pretty nice to see kind of this roster rocking it out. I mean, it's going to be pretty wild in loser side, but it's going to be very exciting to see what's going to happen in the winner side. In fact, Angry Bird and Night Masters being the first match of the night/morning is going to be pretty exciting. We do have the players ready and their quotes as well going into the top 16. Let's take a look at what they had to say going into it. Angry Bird says, "Shout outs to my fans for their continued support. Very humbling from a very hardworking man." Again, this guy has been in the lab. Despite any sort of conditions going on in the world, he is still practicing the most he can for his team and his teammates. So again, big shout out to Angry Bird as well. Let's see what Night Masters had to say for his quote.
It's a beautiful thing to see the continued grind, and we got exciting games are waiting for us. I wish success to all my competitors. Another beautiful, humble quote right there, right? Wishing success to everybody that's competing in this top 16 today, because that's what we all want to see, right? We want to see everybody play their best Street Fighter V and see who gets in the top 8, but we want to see it at the top of the game, right? We don't want to see any fluke victories or some drop combos where it cost them the game. Of course, the heartbreakers. We want to see everybody play as solid as they possibly can. So I can't wait to see this. Obviously, Angry Bird has a lot of success offline and online. He's one of the most prominent figures in Street Fighter V. So he's going to be the favorite going in, right? But one of the beautiful things about this being Middle East, right? Because you heard Brian and Rob talk about it last year. It was kind of lumped in with EU East, and there was a lot of people kind of in the bracket itself. But I like this now that it's more Middle East, so you know that these guys are going to be training partners, right? There's going to be people that they've played a lot. So we're going to see exposure to the birds that we haven't seen in an international competition sense, right? These are going to be the guys that they play all the time, the people that know their habits probably better than anybody else.
And I'm very, very glad you mentioned that, because they also preface that in No Neutral, like Rob TV and Brian F are saying the whole time, like, who are going to be the ones to take the birds down? If you saw what happened in the bracket, how it's set up, you have Angry Bird at the top of the bracket, Big Bird on the other half, right? I want to see who's going to give them the most problem on the way up, and that's the best part about CPT. That's the best part about getting these new regions isolated so that we can see the true potential of these regions. And man, I just saw the preview for sets as I was talking. I almost choked up. Man, Chris T versus Luigi. That's gonna be pretty
man.
But this is going to be pretty good. I like it. So it was supposed to be Seth from Angry Bird, but he said, I'm not going to use Seth if I feel like there's going to be potential lag.
Yeah, straight up. You know what I mean? I think Zeku is definitely a good character to catch your opponent off guard, right? Especially in young form, which he immediately backs up and switches to, right? A very fast character on the ground, but lacks the anti-airs, and you can see Night Masters already exposing that and whip punishing the slide.
Already off to a great start. Night Masters is trying to play defense, but Angry Bird, again, once he gets in, he does not let go once he takes a bite. But Night Masters is in a pretty great position, right? Does get the presidentiality level. We're just about even in life now.
Yeah, but again, you can see a lot of jumps coming out from both sides. Players testing each other's anti-airs right now. Ooh, V-Reversal doesn't want to take the pressure after talking that jump in. Ooh, does find the cross up this time, though. We're going to go to the corner.
And you're seeing Angry Bird take to the skies a lot more often than not, but for a specific reason, right? He's testing the anti-airs from Night Masters and also kind of keeping him on track with it. Exactly, right there. That was a sharper angle than most of the jump-ins. You cannot use any of the forward momentum buttons to stop the anti-air.
Ooh, and we know that back throw from Zeku does chunky damage right there, especially with a little bit of gray life. But yeah, Night Masters, you saw, he went for the back fierce. It's a bigger reward when you actually get the anti-air. Wow, EX booster flip into the grab. Read that he was going to try to level up at the beginning.
Ooh. And this is so tough for Night Masters now. Getting just assaulted in the air. Even again, with the cross-up. You see that, right? The crouch fierce just completely whiffing behind his head.
And that's what I was going to bring up, was the fact that he wasn't using the crouch fierce. He was using the back, but even that loses. And now the whiff command throw is punished. We're in the corner. Doesn't bite on that stand roundhouse.
All right, this is where Angry Bird gets his defense tested and success. Oh, no! Does not succeed. I take it back. Here comes Night Masters. Dash up 2 times over. V-shift out of pressure.
Yeah, V-skill try to keep him locked down. Oh, the V-skill catching the wall. Clean jump.
Oh, that could have been a whiff punish.
Yeah, too far for him. Tried to check him with the dash, but he's not biting. Wow, just slides in heavy. Either you cancel it, you just wrist it. And yeah, that's a punishable shoulder. Going to go into the critical art.
But it doesn't kill.
Well, nowhere close. Ooh, does get the empty low, but there was no jab afterwards. So the rush punch punished.
you're thinking about that situation, right? So, Night Masters going for the critical art, knowing it wasn't going to kill. He was going for the mix-up and still managed to get it right with the low. He opened up Angry Bird, but say that sequence hit. Crouch low, crouch jab, finish up the dash punch, charge up into presidentiality level. That would have still been a very difficult time for Angry Bird to seal out the deal because you have max level G.
Yeah,
being able to throw fireballs, be at a further space away from you.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It would have been tough for Angry Bird for sure. We're going to see hopefully Night Masters converts a little bit more cleanly next time. I really like that V-skill usage to put him towards the corner.
There's the anti-air who's looking for, buffered with the fireball also, making sure to lock him down on the way.
Oh, yeah, you are not in V-trigger yet, my friend. So a clean punish. He gets the president level 2, but waking up with the jab, not checking with the meaties. Man, yeah, these slides are paying off. He does have V-trigger to cancel it to it now.
Oh, that trade would have been cool, but Night Master just lets him drop, and there's the activation from the trigger. Don't get caught.
You have counter hit. Don't miss cracked. What we doing next? Oh, ambiguous cross-up right there. You saw the EX run into the back dash just to throw the little hezzy on him. Which way are we going to go? Turns out, protect your neck.
That was so intricate, too, because he dashed up to get the meaty setup going. The fact that Night Masters just stayed on the ground, Angry Bird was like, perfect. This sets me up for an even better opportunity.
That was really sick layers, right? Able to cover both the quick rise and the delayed rise. Oh, there we go. That's the back fierce he wants because it gives him a level up as well as more damage via that EX wheel kick.
I forget you played both of these players down to the T.
Oh, yeah. I love these characters.
Pretty active, yeah.
Oh, actually checking him with the stand like it. Of course, a good tool for Zeku. Not as good as it once was, but we got to punish on the slide again.
There's that presidentiality level for Night Masters getting a full conversion now. Knowing full where Angry Bird does have V-trigger locked up. Oh, no. Oh, no. This is bad. So much free damage going on. There we go. Activation from Night Masters to stop again. Angry Bird, more than enough. That is a giant conversion off of lights.
Yeah, that's the thing with Angry Bird, man. And, you know, I've studied his Zeku a long time. As you mentioned, I'm a Zeku player myself. And he is the king of converting into the critical art, man. You give him any type of opening with lights, he's always going to be consistent with it. And you can see sealing out the game once again with that patented Zeku. Now, we talked about the Seth, but I mean, Zeku is such a good character, especially online, right? Because we see the command run. There's a lot of things to check the opponent that's definitely tough to scout out. So I really like him going there. And he abused the jumps early, right? Because that conditions the opponent to start looking in the air. That opens up the run on the ground.
Yeah, and it was kind of tough, too. Night Masters was thinking, all right, well, with Zeku, old Zeku, or even young Zeku, I have to think of a grounded approach. I got to see how I'm going to close the gap. And one of the biggest weaknesses I see from young Zeku is being able to jump on him. But that wasn't the case. Angry Bird just went out from the gate. I'm going to go off and jump at you and test your fundamentals first. And then I'm going to get to my scheming. I'm going to get you used to the ground conditioning afterwards. So that was really, really smart of him to get kind of jumpy very early.
Yeah, I totally agree, right? It definitely caught the G off guard. A lot of the time you could see that Darkseid was going for a lot of the back fierce into trying to get wheel kick, trying to get the big damage, right? And then he even got switched up and he was like, all right, I'll use the crouch fierce because my back fierce is losing a lot. But even then, Angry Bird just knew the right angles to even stuff that option a lot of the time. So, I mean, at this point, if you're Darkseid, you're going to need to like jump back a little bit, try to get the crouch fierce in a better angle, and just in general, I think stay at a more fireball pressure type distance.
Yeah. I would have loved to see Night Masters kind of adapt a little early on and go for something like a jump back.
I don't know why I was calling Darkseid. I was tripping. I don't know what I was thinking.
It's the dark side of the studio.
Yeah,
right?
it really
That's what's
is.
going on. I would have loved to see kind of an adaptation with like jump back medium punch to knock him down and get himself associated like into the air-to-air game a little bit more to get presidentiality level 2 off that way. But yeah, anything like a jump medium punch would have directly knocked Angry Bird down and create the space again. But that wasn't the case. Hopefully we get to see that in the losers run at least.
Yeah, for sure, right? So hopefully he does make that adjustment later on. Because, yeah, I think that jump back medium punch 4G is a great air-to-air option. But, of course, we are in the 2 out of 3 realm. So Angry Bird is going to be moving on to top 8 winner's side to tomorrow. And next up, we're going to have UAE 2020 up against Mature.
And, of course, UAE 2020 is going to be rocking that Abigail, and, of course, hailing from UAE. But, again, Mature has been one of those cats that has been actively pumping out content, going for replays, also making a lot of different content for Twitter for Street Fighter V. He has made it with his Ryu into top 16. And that's going to be pretty exciting to see. Ryu versus Abigail.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, I think in this patch, I mean, Ryu should do just fine, I think, a lot of the time. I mean, he'll be able to utilize that low forward for a lot of the time where Abigail is trying to get into that range where he likes to bully with crouch medium punch. I think Ryu will actually do a decent job kind of fighting in that same space, as well as the fireball game that we talked about. I mean, obviously, Abigail could get the right read and get a big jump in and then get rolling, right? That's just how the matchup goes, but that's going to be up to the Ryu player to try to play a little bit disciplined and not get too fireball happy.
Yeah, one of the things I do want to see from Abigail is kind of using the normals at a very moderate pace, or at least in a way that's unpredictable, because a lot of the changes towards Abigail goes around some of his normals being able to be whiff punished more consistently, right? So it's up to the Ryu player to kind of acknowledge that, and also the Abigail player to figure out and pinpoint which normals he would want to use at a moment's notice, rather than just kind of swing away wildly like Abigail was able to prior.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, I want to see if he's going to be trying to bait out some of those grounded normals from Ryu, because Abigail still has those big buttons, right? So if he's going to be able to maybe get him a little whiff happy, then we'll get a crush counter or two, and then that's all he needs to open the door and take the entire round.
Oh, when he opens the door, he busts it down. Like, it goes completely unhinged. Oh, yeah. Just hops on in there.
I was going to say, eat your heart out, Kool-Aid man,
yeah,
for sure, bro.
He's got nothing on him. Yeah. Same size, probably, but Abigail is taking a big sip if he's getting through that door for free. I'll tell you what. But Abigail versus Ryu, it's going to be pretty exciting to see. UAE versus Mature. Let's see what these players have to say for their top 16 debut here. Mature says, I have not played against my opponent before, but I heard he plays Abigail and Ryu. Being a Ryu main, I know the ins and outs of the character, so I can deal with him if that's what he chooses. I have not played against Abigail in a long time, however. Should be an interesting match.
Ooh, all right. We'll see what he brings to the table then, if we're going to get the mirror or not. But on the other side, UAE 2020, I'm sure it will not be an easy match, but I will do my best. Again, showing a lot of respect to the opponents. It's not going to be easy for anybody in this top 16, right? Everybody is here to play their best to get to that top 8 tomorrow. Of course, to compete for that prize pot for this tournament, but as well as to get the Capcom Cup, of course.
For sure. Another fun fact about Mature, from what he provided, is that he was not able to throw out a fireball in 2016 when the game first dropped.
Oh,
he did not know how to throw a fireball. He couldn't do it. And then he specifically says, started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, you hear that a lot when it comes to people picking up fighting games for the first time, is that what other video game do you have to do motions in? You know what I mean? Doing combos in Devil May Cry, you don't really have to do motions. Racing games,
there's no motions in Resident Evil, for sure.
Yeah,
there's
you know what I'm saying?
One.
So, when it comes to that, I think that is a big obstacle for a lot of new players. It's just something that they don't have to deal with when it comes to playing any other video game. So I love to see people conquer that and then go much further beyond, right? Because that's the first step. And once you get past that, then the beauty of fighting games really opens up to you.
I will show my boomer side. The only time you had to use a quarter circle forward motion was in Mega Man. Getting the armor, you get the specific condition of X. Okay. Getting the arm buster upgrade, he does throw a fireball. He does throw a Hadouken. It's pretty cool. That's all I could say. Yeah. But for the most part, it's going to be pretty exciting to see Mature versus UAE_2020. Again, both of these cats not so active in the CPT, but this is, I feel like, their first debut into the Capcom Pro Tour. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see. Again, Mature, you've seen time and time again, pumping out Street Fighter V content for all you folks at home. But in a competitive stage, it's their debut. It's a brand new ball game for them.
Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things about Middle East having their own region this year, right? Not lumped in with any of the other European countries. That's dope because we get to see these players that are lost in the bigger brackets and may have fallen to less than ideal connections in the past. We'll have more stable connections now and get a chance to show off more than they ever have before. And you can see we already have content creators in the limelight as well for the top 16. And that's something I love to see as well, right? We got Brian and Rob, two of our main content creators. They're always grinding in the competitive scene as well. So it's a beautiful thing, especially in COVID times, I think, in the quarantine as we come down to an end. A lot of people were picking up the content grind, right? Because that's what we had to do. There was no tournaments to go to. There was nothing like that, right? So to occupy that time and to keep pumping out new FGC content, a lot of people started making their own. So it's a beautiful thing to see not only players transitioning to there, but still keeping their competitive edge as well.
I think that's what goes hand in hand, though, with content creation and also studying the matchups, right? You're going to be able to level up. You're gonna go through these videos and edit them. It's I've seen this scene a million times because I had to edit the audio. I had to cut the track so that it's seamless, right? Yeah. These guys are still watching the gameplay itself and still studying the matchups. Whether you're focused on it or not, when you're in that editing process, you're seeing it a million times. I promise you.
I really love that point that you brought up, because that's the thing, right, is that they're just getting their reps in no matter what. They're still engrossed in the game. They're still thinking about it. They're still just surrounded by it. And when that happens, you're just going to continue to get better, whether it's making content for it, whether it's studying a matchup, whether it's just watching match footage to review, to study how a tournament is ran, or whatever skill you're trying to improve in. As long as you're surrounded and wrapped in Street Fighter V or whatever game you're trying to improve in, you will do so.
And now we're going to get ready into our matchup. Again, we are taking a little while, but these guys are still queuing up and ready to go. UAE versus Mature, Abigail versus Ryu. Let's talk about the matchup a little bit, right? We've kind of dabbled in what changed with some of these characters. Abigail, again, having more normals that are like whiff punishable, a little bit easier to approach him on the ground, or excuse me, in the air, considering the changes to just light normals as an anti-air throughout the entirety of the cast, right? But Ryu has received a ton of buffs as well, right? We've mentioned that a good amount already.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see them on display, right? Because we mentioned on the ground, a little bit easier to whiff punish when it comes to Abigail, so I think that's going to open up the door for Ryu to kind of play that footy game. I mean, he's got good walk speed, obviously the buff to crouch medium kick we've talked about a couple of times already. And then, yeah, as you mentioned, the universal nerf to light punch anti-air is going to allow him to kind of abuse the air game in a way that he wouldn't be able to before as well. And that just kind of opens the door to changing the rhythm of the usual Shoto matchup that you're used to, right? Because if you're Abigail, a lot of the time Ryu's just going to sit on the other side of the screen, throw the fireballs, and if you get a little jump happy, maybe he'll be disciplined and throw the uppercut up, right, to get the anti-airs going.
That's what has me thinking about Abigail, right? When it comes to like V skill usages, right? V skill 1 gives him an easier time to kind of face off against like the fireball matchup. The tire, there were some changes to it to kind of get him like in his combo routes more consistently too. But for the most part, I'm thinking about it, it's like, what else can Abigail use against Ryu when it comes to like right out the gate, just handling with the fireball game? There are like things like Abigail flip that he can use, build himself a little bit of V gauge with the V skill, but other than that, it's like like back fierce to kind of nullify the fireball too and inch his way forward. It's still going to be pretty tough. Just thinking about phase 1 of the match.
Yeah, so when you think about that, right, and you think about the fact that it's going to be tough just in a neutral state for Abigail, do you consider going for Tire 2 or for the Tire V skill just so once you get the ball rolling, it's less of a shot for you to get out?
It's so hard because you would have to really find the right timing to get the tire in the first place.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about it like frame 1, Ryu decides to throw a fireball. Abigail decides to V skill 2. The fireball is going to come at you way sooner than the tire is, right?
Yeah.
So
You
it
got a
gives Ryu
rotation on that bad boy.
a little bit more time to kind of find a plan around the tire, whereas Abigail might potentially get hit first. But who knows? Either way, they are going to be setting up. Let's see if all of our talk comes to fruition. It all really depends on what kind of V skill Abigail is going to pick for this matchup. I'd imagine it has to be V skill 1. It doesn't matter. Let's go. Ryu mirror match. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
And the commentators plan and the players laugh. That's usually how it goes. So no Abigail versus Ryu. We're actually going to get the Ryu mirror. And man, I have not seen one of these since I feel like season 1. Like straight up. This is some true Street Fighter V right here. We're going to get Ryu. Ooh, already with the parries. I'm hyped to see this.
And in outer space.
Yo.
That's the best part.
It really is. The crowd is gathered around to see the masters of the universe once again. Slug it out, projectile it out. I love this ground game already. Just chilling out, both players. Seeing who wins the war of attrition when it comes to the fireball game, Matt Shore.
Oh, yeah. He was waiting for it. He's playing classic Street Fighter. He's baiting it out. This kind of throwing off the timing for his fireball. But once he gets UAE settled, he's like, all right, I'm going to go back to fireballs. Oh, that could have been huge. That could have been a huge jump and a huge amount of damage, I should say, from UAE.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. He didn't go with the stand medium kick, so no cross-up button. Dash under is blocked. Ooh, EX to be into the punch this time. Nice V-shift. I like that from Mature. Prioritizing going back to the neutral because he has the life lead. Oh. Throw tech. We're staying alive here, but an EX fireball is jumped.
Ooh, and I like him going for the damage ender with the uppercut instead of going for the Tatsu where you get guaranteed Oki, right?
Yeah. He was willing to fight out this war of attrition as long as he has the life lead, right? And that's what that uppercut combo gave him. Nice.
Ugh. I'm liking the use of V skill. Oh, no. There's going to be a gang of damage. Ugh. Oh! Trigger 2!
Put the man on life support. He runs into the fireball. Unfortunate.
He just ate it. He thought he was going to parry it.
Yeah, I have to imagine he was going for a parry and just ended up mistiming it.
Ooh, yeah.
Put that away. The crouch medium kick into the Tatsu shoulder plexus.
And that's still so far away to get the Tatsu connected.
Yeah, UAE though, fighting off that stun. And you can see the crouch medium kick come back out again. Deadly button.
And like a tour, okay. Has to block the solar plexus. You are negative after that. Still managed to contest it. Oh, yeah.
The V-break.
Yeah.
Keep that to yourself, fam. And then the counter hit. I'll take this W, though. Mature first game.
I like that. I like that a lot from Mature right now. Again, he was a little complacent with the Fireball game. Changed it up almost immediately afterwards. I'm liking this start for him.
It was beautiful. I mean, I really love seeing the Ryu mirror. Both players kind of testing the fireball habits of the other. You can see jumping after the first fireball. Ryu's often like to test you with a fireball into fireball directly, right? Rarely do they bait it out immediately. So I like them testing each other in that sense. And we saw a couple of EX fireballs nullify one another, a couple of EX fireballs to gain ground on the projectile game. It's a really fun mirror to watch, honestly.
Yeah, and we did see that slow adaptation from UAE. However, again, finding the right timing to get those jump-ins is pretty pivotal when it comes to playing anybody with the fireball. Being able to react to the fireball accordingly is something you have to develop, or else you're just going to be eating it majority of the time. But for the most part, I don't even know if there was any huge mistakes from the side of UAE. One of the things I did see is the fact that he would press after a negative situation. One of the times being after a solar plexus strike, right? You saw the counter hit. You saw the kind of momentum it led to for Mature in that corner. I think other than that, he had the right idea of making the right reads against the fireball game. His ground game could be a little bit more polished, but at the same time, it wasn't that bad. It was not that bad. But he is switching it up into the big fella.
Yo, Mecha Abigail coming through. I can't wait to see this too. So unfortunately, yeah, no more Ryu mirror, but I'm always actually a big Abigail fan, however you may feel about that. I like to see the big boy go to work.
He has 2 exhaust pipes on his back. I would love to see him just transform into a car, just rolling out of the ring. That'd be sick.
You don't ever got to worry about this man granny shifting, that's for sure. And at this point, though, of course, Mature already with the established life lead. Yeah, he's going to make him come to him. The flip.
Look at the hang time on Big Aristotle. Man's got vertical for days. Did you see that?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he can rewrite history with this one. Because right now, Mature looking to keep that protagonist power going. Ryu.
Oh man. And this is the big problem we preface this show. Oh, no. You thought you could anti-air the big fella? No way.
He rules the paint. Oh, there we go. Put that projectile away. We go into the corner. 3 in the key. You under the basket now.
Oh, wait a minute. Going up to contest. Listen, he may not have the height, but he has the heart.
Oh, let's see. He's got the V-trigger as well. Oh, and that's what he wanted off that slide, but Mature, very aware of that. Backdash into the crouch medium kick with punish. 1 round away from getting to top 8.
I'm liking this a lot from Mature, but I gotta say, man, as Abigail, yep, you cannot get complacent. Once he has that meter, once that EX run comes out, the armor is gonna be a big problem, but Mature is fine with that. Mature is absolutely okay with that. Oh, and the jump just at the right timing.
Yeah, completely passing by the flip. Oh, put that away. Crush counter.
The reset! Oh, no! The stun!
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Cross under, puts him back into the corner. You're 1 combo away. You're going to take the throw. You're not going to take the throw instead. I'll take your life. Mature 2-0 into top 8.
I wonder what happens when he watches this back. Does he put his own like highlights into his, like his YouTube channel? Like UAE top 16, right? He puts like the players down. It's like, oh wait, this is me. do I turn this into a highlight clip or do I just leave it? Do I let it rock?
Yeah, I was gonna say he starts adding the extra filters, the extra memes on top of that. I'll take my match, some liberties with it.
He zooms in on certain hits, like he adds little beats to it. He adds like Cody's theme song, like boom, 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 and then I don't know, man. Some weird stuff. But Mature again making it into top 8. He's pretty much one and done. He has to face off against Angry Bird tomorrow.
Oh man, yeah. Whew. What a reward for you, Mature. Good job getting through the Ryu and the Abigail, and you got Angry Bird with that Zeku and perhaps that Seth. We'll see how their connection plays out tomorrow. But of course, we're going down to the rest of the winners' top 8. We got Big Bird versus Volcano Rosso coming up next, and then we got Meto Zorro versus GTR as well to round out that first round.
I'm liking that a lot. Big Bird versus Volcano Rosso. Now, Volcano Rosso actually was one of the big contenders in the Middle East back in 2019. Man, I say that was a long time ago, but it was.
It feels like it.
It really was.
It feels like it.
Got second online for the Middle East qualifier in CPT. So there's a lot of history already from Volcano Rosso having that kind of strength, that kind of result is very difficult to come by in an online atmosphere. especially using characters like Guile.
Yeah.
I'm totally kidding. But no, he's using Guile, and again, Guile is one of those characters that kind of got like significantly nerfed.
Yeah.
With the addition of V-Shift.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly right. And a lot of the time, Guile likes to catch you out and really just apply his pressure with the Sonic Boom. And he's very safe with the pressure he gives, right? Even when he like gets you in a scrambling situation where you air tech out, he has so many safe options. And that V-Shift, as you mentioned, is going to be able to get through. And then with the invulnerability of V-Break, you V-Shift the Fireball and then get in like that, right? So that's definitely one of the ways that Guile has been nerfed because of the system mechanics. So we'll see how Big Bird utilizes that, right? That's kind of what we expect out of the top level players that we've seen. Early V-Shift utilization, right? Being able to optimally use new mechanics quickly. That's kind of what we expect out of the top level players. So we're going to see if Big Bird takes advantage of that in the Guile matchup. But of course, as you mentioned, this man's been to the upper echelon, right? So he's got to have some confidence, more so than a lot of the other players in this bracket, because he's shown that he is able to get to grand finals with elite competition.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that too, because he's been in the grand final spot more often than not. Last year, he was actually in contention to make it into the CPT finals via like online qualification. He ended up getting second at one of them, falling just short to Angry Bird, and then he got third actually in the follow-up one. So he had some pretty bad luck in his online qualifiers. But again, being able to be in like the winner's final spot or even just like in a grand final spot, he's been in the upper echelon, as you mentioned.
Yeah. And the second and third place, it's funny what stuff like, or what those results will do to your mental game, right? Because you should be confident, right? You went very far, elite competition, but you get so close, right? And it really depends on how you react to it, right? That's what life's all about, how you react to the things. And it's really a testament to see him back in top 16, right? You know the hunger is there, that he's willing to put whatever he can on the table to make that top 8, to get to that grand finals, to get that first place prize. So I can't wait to see him bring it. And he's going to have real tough early test with Big Bird on the other side.
Yeah, so let's take a look at what these players had to say for their top 16 appearance. Volcano Rosso says, in 2019, Big Bird sent me to losers in the top 16. He's a very talented player and knows Rashid very well. I wish him the best, but I hope luck will be on my side and I win this time. That's what I'm talking about. See, again, these players have a lot of history with each other, and it's one of those things that you mentioned earlier. These guys are going to be playing against some of the players they practice with on the daily. Let's see what Big Bird had to say for his entry.
Yes, let us see. I've got to finish fast so I can have time to go to the gym after I'm done. Can't miss chest day. May the best man win. Wow. Mine's slightly off the match. We'll see if Volcano Rosso can take advantage of that. My man Big Bird, I feel you, dog. I don't like missing chest day either, but you got a real competitor on your hands here. We'll see if he has enough of his mind in the game.
That's the thing, is when he says, I need to finish fast, does he imply that he's going to win? Is he saying, I got to get rid of my opponent as soon as possible?
I mean, I think that's what the implication implies, right? He can be one and done today. He just needs to win this match, and then he doesn't have to play his loser's bracket. He goes in the top 8, free to do chest, legs, arms, whatever the hell he wants. But he has to get past Volcano Rosso first. And, of course, you know, Big Bird's got a comedic guy. I'm sure he's got plenty of focus on the match, of course. Yeah. But I do want to see if Volcano Rosso can pull off the upset.
This man is about to compete for tournament life into Capcom Cup on a Saturday, as well as go into the gym. Chest day on a Saturday? Like, I'm trying to think about like the kind of regimen he has. Push, pull, and legs. Chest on a Saturday?
Ooh.
I don't know, man. This guy is a whole different person.
As long as he doesn't have the arms, the fingers sore for tomorrow, right? If he does make that top 8, so he can still perform at his full capabilities. But we're going to see, as we mentioned, the matchup that we expected. Rashid versus Guile. Volcano Rosso going to be playing with that Guile. The zombie Guile, too, bro. Oh, okay, already tested him with the jump back, but he saw that Volcano Rosso was walking back, right? So it was going to be like a crouch fierce anti-air rather than like a flash kick.
Sure. Any sort of anti-air, really, from Volcano Rosso. But, you know, the fact of the matter is, he didn't get tested at all. But Big Bird also getting checked himself right after.
They're jumping, and then got caught reaching. Sweeps him up as well. We got the corner.
He's trying to give him that 24-hour fitness pass right now. He's trying to send him to the gym early.
Looking for the DGen hours workout. You got to put Big Bird on it.
Oh, no, I take it back. He's looking for a spot, buddy. He's trying to bring it with him.
And then catches the V-shift. You ain't going nowhere, fam.
Try to press this.
Big Bird taking the first round.
And I like that. I like him checking Volcano Rosso to see what he's about right out the gate, too. And there's Volcano Rosso exploding with the EX Sonic Booms instead.
And he's seen Big Bird a little reach happy so far. He was able to take advantage of it early, but not this time. EX World 1 put the plus frames on him. Get off me.
No fear at all. Oh, man. V-skill against V-skill. I like that. Here comes the activation. Forward throw. He's going to do it again. No, instead goes for the jump, puts himself in the corner. Volcano Russell, sit down. I'm going to make sure you stay here real quick.
Oh, the
he knew!
What an answer, honestly. Oh, yeah, counter hit off that, though. That was not his turn. V-reversal is blocked. EX Spike going to get him out of the corner here, but nice neutral jump, catches the double hello.
What kind of read is that from Volcano Russell, neutral jumping in a space where he knew the Fierce was going to whiff?
Recognizing that Big Bird is willing to commit to these big buns on the ground here. V-reversal again once he gets that cross up, reaching and reaching, but he's not teaching him any lessons.
Not yet, anyway. One throw will do it. He waited for any sort of option, whether it be EX spinning mixer, V-shift being one of them. Volcano Russell has had the right reads on offense.
Oh, and then back fist. Give me some space, bruh. Oh, caught reaching again. Not a big punish, but still.
Damage on the table. We'll take those kind of damage opportunities. And speaking of, that could have been a big critical art advantage for Volcano Russell, but Opsa saved the meter. Big sweep punish, allowing Big Bird to activate now.
Yeah, V-trigger active.
Oh, that could have been huge. He's just going way past him.
Yo, yeah, he managed to dodge 2, but finally gets thrown. A little bit of V-trigger left for Big Bird as well for the plus frames. And one more on him.
Oh, you thought you could jump away from me? Leg days tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Flash kick coming out the right side this time.
Big Bird now with the advantage here in the corner. Jumps out to safety. One anti-air, just a hit.
Wait,
not bad for Volcano Russell.
And I love that. He's not reaching.
Ooh.
A little bit late on the Eagle Spike. Still not reaching. Does take the throw, though. You can't take another one, fam. Tries for the sweep. He wanted the V-trigger activation, but Big Bird backing up and then V-skilling for the punish. Beautiful stuff.
And that was just at the tip, the tippiest of tips of the V-skill where he wasn't going to get punished. And that was so smart from Big Bird. He planned that out perfectly. He's like, you know what? I know exactly what I'm going to do here. Perfect spacing. Right at the end of the animation, you're not going to hit anything. So smart from Big Bird.
Yeah, and Big Bird really just pushed the pace. He was down to really slug it out and play at a scramble type game. Volcano Russell left a lot of damage on the table, man. There was a lot of whiff throws from Big Bird that just did not go punished heavily.
Oh, spinning mixer, sit him back down with the anti-air. Tech throw. Volcano Russell goes for the sweep instead. I don't know. That was a wild shot in the dark.
Yeah, definitely an ambitious sweep attempt. And then caught reaching. Didn't actually convert, but, you know, we'll get the one-hit stun anyway. Even off a crouch light kick, still doing decent damage. What are we going to do with it next?
I was going to say a throw is more than enough to do it. Volcano Russell, another shot at life. Here's the activation he was looking for in that last instance, but not doing much with it, unfortunately. Does bait out an Eagle Spike, but no punish.
Yeah, lands on one of the baby booms. Oh, V-skill to the other side. It's going to give Big Bird all the space to play with.
What do you do now as Volcano Russell? You kind of have to sit it out, right? You have to build these resources back, look for an optimal punish, but now Big Bird, again, harassing with the lights as soon as he gets up close because he understands what he needs to win. He doesn't have to take any necessary risks.
Yeah, you see Big Bird immediately checking as well. It's been all Bird all day. Yeah, dashing in front as well. Volcano Russell just hasn't really been having a lot of Sonic Boom games. Hasn't really made Big Bird respect that distance.
And that's really unfortunate for Big Bird, but even greater for Volcano Russell, taking advantage of that nerfed wall jump, right? Oh, yeah. Not afraid.
Yeah, that was really good. He needed some momentum break. Oh, no, but instead the glass gets broken. Nice Eagle Spike. Oh, he tried to get that last spinning mixer, but ends up getting punished for it. Sweep into the V-trigger activation.
Oh, this is great for Volcano.
Yeah, you saw him wind up with that stand fierce.
No
whiff punish. Oh, speaking of whiff punish, V-trigger freezes the screen. You're sweeping from full screen. I'm not sure exactly why, but the Eagle Spike will be there for the punish.
Sweep.
I
was trying to think of what other alternatives he could have had to the sweep. Like, I'm just trying to think about it. Like, what could it have been for Volcano Russell to see for him to sweep like that?
Yeah, I'm not even sure because it wasn't like he had like a V-trigger too, right? So it wasn't even like a missed flash kick where you like want the boom to come out. I don't know.
True.
Oh, it was weird.
It's an unfortunate circumstance, but I will say Volcano Russell did play it very well in the first game. His offensive coordination and reads when it comes to what Big Bird wanted to do and punishing accordingly, it was great. There were certain times where there was damage left on the table on both ends, but I feel like overall the fight was going towards Volcano Russell. Just slight mishaps happened and allowed Big Bird to not only take the game, but mentally have the advantage.
Yeah, and I really think that's where the difference came into play, was just Big Bird's tournament experience and like comfort levels in the scramble, right? Playing at a very high pace tournament condition environment, he was just so much more comfortable than Volcano Rosso was. He was always down, no matter what. Even a lot of the time when he was making decisions that were getting punished, right? You could see that he was never really conditioned by it. He was just playing his own game, and he was like, I'm going to keep playing stubborn because you haven't actually taken the full game. Yeah, you've gotten damage. Yeah, you've gotten a round or two, but you haven't put an L on my board yet. So I really love Big Bird not switching it up until that happens.
So it allows Big Bird to go off to the gym pretty early with a 2-0 victory. And that's the kind of victories you see all across the board. That's been the trend. That has been the pace overall here in the Middle East Top 16. However, we still have another quarterfinal to go, but that won't happen until after the break. Again, we've had so much Street Fighter V action weekend after weekend after weekend, but we're changing things up a little bit as we have a big one happening very, very soon. That is the Intel World Open.
Yes, indeed. I can't wait for the Intel World Open to get started. Of course, Intel, a world leader in gaming technology, is currently holding the Intel World Open featuring Street Fighter V Championship Edition. This global esports competition will pit players from around the world against one another in 11 regional finals, where they'll have a chance to fight for a $250,000 prize pool and the honor of representing their country as a champion. Think you got what it takes? Open qualifiers are currently happening in your region through June 13th. Registration is free, and you may register for all of the 4 qualifiers happening in your region. Registration is open until 20 minutes before each qualifier event, so it's never too late to sign up. As an additional bonus to celebrate the Intel World Open, players will receive an in-game rewards if you log into your Street Fighter V account anytime after June 1st. The rewards will be delivered sometime in August. Do not forget to register and compete for a chance to represent your region in one of the 11 regional qualifiers and earn a piece of the $250,000 prize pool. For more information, visit intelworldopen.gg.
I like the extra edition of the special title and the dojo objects. Before, it just said esports athlete. Now they have newer ones that has competitor. But, yo, the objects, bronze, silver, and gold, bruh, I want the all gold everything.
That's what I'm saying.
If you're asking me, I want the all gold everything. That is sick.
I'm looking at the objects right now, and I'm like, I need those gold objects.
Yeah.
Bro. That's definitely scratching my itch.
I'm trying to bling out my dojo, and you guys got to take advantage of this, right? This is just another opportunity for you to really showcase your talent and be a part of something really extraordinary, and that's an opportunity that comes by once in a lifetime, maybe every 4 years, considering this is a pretty huge event held by the Intel World Open. But again, we're going to get back into the winner's side. It is top 16. Don't go anywhere. When we return, we'll continue with the Middle East top 16.
You shouldn't only admire my work, but also concentrate a little more on your lessons, Manak. That wake you up? Let the spirit guide you. How's this for you? You must be careful. Let's watch it. Soul satellite! Satellite! What's the meaning of fate? You shall know. power's nature. Fedora first! You should try to learn to use your power a little better.
Three matches down in the top 16, but the action is just getting started here for the Middle East. Capcom Pro Tour 2021, Vicious back at it again with Ringe. We are here for you guys, making sure to deliver all of the Street Fighter 5 matches you could ever ask for, really. But again, we've gone through the first three in order of 2-0 throughout the entirety of it.
Indeed, indeed. And we'll see if we'll wrap up with another 2-0 as we got one more match in our winner's side top 16 to determine who is going to face Big Bird tomorrow in that first round of top 8 winners. So we got Metal Zorro versus GTR. You know, GTR is actually my favorite car in existence.
Me too.
Okay,
I'm a big Skyline fan.
Yeah, there we go. So, you know, I got a little bias towards GTR, but of course Metal Zorro is going to be no slouch as well. And again, this is going to be for the last top 8 winner spot, right? The winner, or the loser, excuse me, is going to drop down to the losers bracket to try to fight it out in a couple of more matches to see if they can make the top 8 loser side. But I'm excited to see who faces Big Bird tomorrow. Of course, we got Metal Zorro versus, who was it again? GTR, of course. And who are our characters?
So this is where I'm kind of not as biased because I remember that Metal Zorro is using Jury.
Oh, okay.
Jury versus potentially Ryu or Alex. Now, GTR has said that he's using Ryu primarily. The last time we saw GTR in a competitive atmosphere, I believe, was in 2016.
Wow.
So since then, I haven't seen any sort of record of him unless he was using a different alias. But for the most part, he participated in Geek Weekend that happened over in that area with Ryu primarily. So I'm kind of curious to see it. Maybe it's one of those things where, you know, I'm going to use Ryu at the start of Street Fighter V. He's great. And then he was just like in hiding. He's like, you know, I'm going to use Ryu low key.
Yeah.
And then wait for my opportunity to come back up and take it all away from you guys. Maybe. But for the most part, that's what we have for GTR. It's the fact that he hasn't really participated in any other online events.
Okay. And you said he has an Alex potentially as well?
Potentially.
Oh, I want to see the Alex, of course. It's lovely to see Ryu because my man has been gone for a long time. So it's cool to see him in the prominent spotlight again, too. But I just got a soft spot in my heart for Alex in this game, man. He is so cool to me. All of his animations are so sick. I love the hyper bomb. And I mean, I just love seeing him more in the spotlight as well, right? They got the +4 on the forward lariat now as well instead of +3. Like, my man's is just out here with the plus frames. But he does still struggle a little bit in the neutral. It is a lot of the time waiting to get that V-trigger pop, and then he has a little bit more of a low threat because of the tornado DDT, right? You can kind of cancel that from the crouch medium kick. But that's, of course, Alex, and we're most likely going to see Ryu. So, and who is Metal Zorro playing?
Jury.
Jury, that's right. Okay, so that's where you're, because you like Jury, right? So that's where you can kind of, the bias comes into a balance.
Yeah, one of the big things about Jury is that kind of keep away style. We kind of saw that in play over at the South Asia region. For the most part, Jury is going to have to kind of manage the different kicks for the most part, but has a great time doing so, right? Her walk speed is great. Her normals are even better, right? Medium kick being one of the most annoying normals to deal with. But if you face off against someone like Ryu, fireballs wouldn't even matter. Excuse me, those normals wouldn't even matter against a fireball.
Ah, yes. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, but she has like the V-skill, right? She can load up and perhaps get through the fireballs that way.
So yeah, but that's the thing, right? With V-skill 1 and or 2, like, or just or 2, I should say, not and or. Jury's gonna have to charge it first, right? It's kind of like a focus attack with V-skill 1 where she has to like hold it and then she can backdash out of it. She'll have it stored up, ready for a fireball. But for the most part, it's like, all right, well, I could probably nullify a fireball with like one of the kick stores, but it's, I don't know, man. It's kind of tough to do it consistently, or at least keep Ryu off your back while trying to get some of these resources. But we'll see how that works out in the gameplay. Let's take a look at what these players have to say for their match.
Yes, indeed. We're going to start with GTR. I'm not familiar with my opponent, but I hope the games are good. That's what I'm talking about, right? Just going into it, not really sure what to expect, but of course, always hoping for good competition. That's what I like to see out of my fighting game players.
Meto Zorro, on the other hand, again, hailing from Turkey, rocking that jewelry. Let's take a look at what he had to say against GTR. I'm happy to play my first top 16 in a major event like this. I wish all the players good luck and hope to see good gameplay. That's what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
A lot of humility going into it. And again, a couple of surprises, right? GTR saying straight up, hey, man, I haven't seen this guy before.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, a little concerned. But it's going to be good games, or I'm hoping for good games regardless. And to be honest with you, that's pretty much a given. When it comes to top 16, you're here for a reason. It's going to be good games.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm expecting, right? I'm expecting Meto Zorro to definitely bring the heat. You mentioned GTR. Hasn't really been seen in the competitive scene since 2016. So we'll see how he adjusts to this environment as well, right? Back in the competition driver's seat. And we'll see if he can get to that top 8. But I know Meto Zorro is going to be putting up a hell of a fight because, as you mentioned, once you get to top 16, you have gone through the bracket, right? You've already gone through battles on battles. So you have hardened yourself to be here, and you're going to be good. So I can't wait to see who brings it, and it will face Big Bird tomorrow in top 8.
So yeah, we were talking about the matchup earlier. Jury versus Ryu, right? One of the biggest things that are going to be a hurdle for Jury is getting past the fireball game.
Yeah.
Jury does have a flip kick.
Yes.
Also, to get past that, she has an EX one that gives her an extra juggle as well to kind of continue the damage. But for the most part, yeah, you're spacing out. You're looking for the proper spacing for the flip kick to get past layer 1 against Ryu, right? Then it comes down to like the neutral, where it comes down to the normals and that kind of battle out. I feel like Ryu just gets a lot more from his normals, from his bufferable normals, being able to get the knockdowns. And what the heck is on our screen? Is that Gil?
Oh, the Gil in the build. Oh, that's right. I mean, we saw in the pre-show, actually, I forgot that Rob and Brian brought up the fact that GTR plays a lot of Gil. And GTR has been in a lot of Big Bird and Angry Bird highlights playing this Gil.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
So he's going to be rocking this to start it off. So a little bit different of a matchup, but of course we got the fireball game still there, and he's working it good already. Meto Zorro in the corner. Got caught pressing buttons when it wasn't his turn to press buttons.
So now just throw everything we prefaced this with out the window. It's a whole different story now.
Oh. Yeah, we'll see. Of course, locked and loaded. V trigger available as well. Ooh, gets to the other side, but kind of a funky hit.
Ooh. Okay, so this is like a whole different story now that GTR is playing this Gil, right? Getting the confirms also into Lariat is pretty critical. Being able to force Jury into the corner now, but with that V-Skill 1, if you're not ready, you get hit by it. It's a side switch. Nice anti-air option from GTR, and that's what's so good about the Illuminati brothers, right? Crouching medium punch just covers that extra distance in case they jump away from you at that range.
Exactly. Catching the landing. Ooh, and then this time parry on the jump in.
Cover a little faster to be able to punish more consistently with Gil in this version.
Yep. Yeah, I got the empty low on the other side, but just loaded up the fireball.
That's that flip kick I was talking about, and GTR 100% ready for it now, kicking it into 6th gear.
Nasty parry on the flip kick attempt. Now the corner. Oh, retribution on that one.
You thought I was all speed. I also got some luxury too. Here's some overhead pressure for you. Bap! You thought it was going to be just me on the racetrack. Man, I'm cruising. I'm liking this from GTR.
Beautiful stuff right there. Opened her up at the very end with that overhead. Had the retribution as well for that extra bit of damage, right, to make sure she got killed. Man, so GTR, of course, it was prefacing with the Ryu, but this Gil looks deadly. And the cryokinesis trying to gain ground because of that slow-moving fireball. Great cross under
anti-air. Love to see it. That's the kind of anti-air that you know is just going to hurt so bad. Yeah, all right. Well, Jury with the crouching heavy punch as well as the anti-air crush counter, but here comes GTR with the parry, making the most use of it. Again, getting a lot of mileage.
Oh, no. The V-shift got clipped by the cryokinesis and she was on fire, so retribution, then the meaty light kicks. My God, GTR 1 round away from top 8.
And that was no pun intended, honestly. He's getting a lot of mileage out of his V-skill, the blocking, the parry, I should say.
He is, man. I mean, he's setting up shop with it as well. I was going to talk about how Jury is usually good at manipulating the opponent, but it's been all GTR manipulation here.
Oh, that was a guess. I feel like Meto Zorro, again, was just hoping for a fireball, but just happened to clip GTR anyway.
Yeah, all right. Now has the life lead here. Ooh, and then baits out. The parry attempt.
Gets a forward throw. Tries to fish out with a standing heavy punch, but GTR was not having any of it. Big trade combo. Full critical art on deck as well, but Zorro sitting on a hefty life lead. That is punishable on the roundhouse.
Bro, it's going to be scary, though. Yeah, V-trigger activation now. Ooh, gets the long distance combo. This is guess for game, bro. He's got CA on deck.
Successfully gets a V break and does get a break in general. Puts himself on the board with 1 round in game 2. Zorro hanging in there. Doing a lot more baits. A couple of more baits in the air against GTR, knowing full well that he's... Oh, that just hit raw!
It be like that sometimes. Raw.
You got to send it back.
EX Fireball. Oh, but still does not get to continue his turn right there. Great check from Zorro. Oh, but the air-to-air goes in the favor of GTR.
Tries to charge up the V-skill in front of GTR's face. Not the wisest decision as, again, GTR is ready for those whiff punishes.
All right. Ends up finding the hit and get a side switch.
And didn't have to use too much V-trigger off of that, but spends it immediately. I like that. Target combo in. The stun is almost there. He could instant air. Ooh, just nice and easy.
Yeah,
nice and easy.
I think a little scrambly at the end right there. GTR got kind of caught in the headlights and just wasn't sure what Zorro was going to bring to the table. Got caught with a neutral jump kick, and I mean, what a bounce back, honestly, from our jury.
And that could have been, that was such a scary situation. There could have been a fuzzy setup with Jory against some of the taller characters for her to just do jump short, especially in that situation where it leads to stun. It was a very dangerous situation. But the fact that she just went with neutral jump at a time where GTR was still able to punish and just wasn't ready for it, that was kind of vital for Zorro's survival.
Yeah, for sure. And a great time jump in to start this round as well, bypassing the cryokinesis. Already has him in the corner because of it, but fighting out. I love that V-shit to gain some space back.
Yeah, having a 2-bar V-trigger also it's pretty nice to have because you know, like, okay, I could spend like maybe 1 V-reversal or a V-shift and still get myself a trigger at the end of it all.
Yeah, but she's going to try and make the most of it here. Ooh, does catch him with a stand medium kick, and now the forward throw. Trying to whittle that life deficit down. Activation this time from Gil. Oh, Batista bomb.
On the other side, Critical Art still on deck. Just ran into the fireball, hoping no punish from GTR.
Wow. Very surprising. He only needed that light punish down the back throw. Oh,
yeah.
Speaking of the light punish, wake up, light punch.
Yeah, I feel like Zorro, again, kind of mistimed the back throw into the stand roundhouse. He wanted to try to clip for a crush counter, but just a little ways off on the timing.
Oh, okay. Had the buffer behind it with the flip kick this time.
And you saw the attempted parry against the fireball from GTR. However, Zorro, again, trying to reset the situation, getting a V-skill, and I guess at least the fireball.
Yeah, we saw Zorro last game able to bounce back after a first-round loss.
Oh, and that was a counter hit. He still could have got a lot more out of that, but he just wasn't sure of himself. He knew he was hitting Gil from the parry, so that automatically puts him in counter hit state.
Yeah, he just kind of fumbled the bag a little bit right there. And now he's in the corner. Oh my God, you got to try to recover the bag at this point, fam. You proved you could do it before.
Oh, chip territory is there. Oh no, the trigger's coming out. GTR just needs one solid block string into critical art. Okay, that's fine for GTR. He takes all the meter away, and then it's God's will.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, he's been setting up shop with that cryokinesis all day, right? We saw before he used a parry to counter the jump in afterwards. This time he had the full CA on deck and just lures Zorro in for that beautiful critical art anti-air and taking the game and being our final competitor in top 8 winner side for tomorrow.
Big congratulations to GTR. Now he has the prize of having to face off against Swole Big Bird on the way out of the top 8.
Swole Big Bird, exactly. Oh, chest day, post-chest day Big Bird. I mean, good luck, my man.
Man, that guy's going to be in full recovery. I feel like Sunday is his rest day, right? So that's going to be even more dangerous. It's like, yeah, I ain't got to worry about the gym. I just got to worry about this CPT event. And I'm liking that. So overall, GTR, again, surprising us with the Gil. Not as big as a surprise to you. You called it, actually. Even the guys over at No Neutral called it. I was like, that was my bad. But, I mean, overall, just even though he slightly kind of misjudged like the jury matchup a little bit, there were a couple of times where he let some punishes go out for free. But for the most part, still clutched it out against Zorro. And again, we saw Zorro just slip up a little, like a couple of times. Just a couple of times. But he has another chance over in loser side, which we do have, right? The losers bracket coming up really, really soon. Let's take a look at who we can expect. LA, a.k.a. Lord Ahmed, versus DF, a.k.a. Darkfella. is going to be happening very soon. You see there in the top 8 who is already seeded into the high table. Angry Bird versus Mature, Big Bird versus GTR. These guys are chilling until tomorrow.
Exactly. Their day is done. They got to prepare for their matches in top 8 as we prepare for the round 1 of Losers Top 16. As you can see, LA versus DF at the top. And then we got Ice Candy versus Nurse Ul. And then we got Benny Best versus Plus Ultra all the way down to Dragon Slayer versus A500M. So beautiful stuff rounding out our top 16 losers bracket round 1. And you can see all of our losers from the top 8 awaiting the winners of the round 1 matches as well to see who gets in the top 8 losers bracket side. I'm looking to see all of our competitors that had already played in that winners bracket matchup. A couple of them looked like just a little off, right? Just maybe a little nervous or kind of like inexperienced in this big tournament setting, because you mentioned, right, there was a lot of matches where they just kind of had a few miscalculations or some damage left on the table that could have really turned the tide. So I'm looking to see if they settle down a little bit and feel more comfortable in the losers bracket having a game already under their belt.
Right, yeah, that's going to be kind of the biggest things, the biggest takeaways I want to see from the folks over in the winner side. But the loser side players don't have that luxury anymore. All of that is taken away, and it's going to be pretty much high pressure for them at this point. There's going to be a lot of intimidation going into it.
Yeah, because even though they do have one game under their belt, that game was a loss, right? And now that they lose one more time and they're done for the tournament. So as much as it's comfortable to get a game under your belt in these high-pressure situations, now your life is on the line. You don't got no more luxuries, as you said, of dropping a game, dropping a set. So we'll see how they respond once we get to losers round 2 of top 16. Of course, we are going to start off with losers round 1 of top 16, which is DF versus LA. Do we have the comments on deck yet?
I do believe so.
Do.
Yeah,
Let's
it's going to be Lord Ahmed and Darkfella. Let's see what they had to say towards each other in this top 16, starting with LA. It was a tough pool, but I'm going to look ahead and focus on every match. I mean, you're not the only one who feels that way. Again, these guys are always ready to play, but every single CPT, as Itazan said, CPT is very hard.
Yeah, exactly, right? And with these competitors, it's always one game at a time, no matter what the level is, no matter what the genre of competition you're competing in, it's always one game at a time. So we'll see from LA, and I want to see what DF has to say in response. We got Ken versus Bison. It's kind of hard for Ken, but I will try my best. Ooh, so he's going to be representing the Ken, which is a character I love to see, of course. That was my very first main in this game. Actually, Bison was my very first main, so I like both of these characters. Yeah. Ken I picked up real quick, though, after Bison didn't have a 3-frame in Season 1. They fixed that real quick, so. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Ken versus Bison. He said it's kind of hard for Ken. I think he does get a little bit bullied on the ground. Of course, Psycho Axe always a good normal in range, stand fierce. Just in general, I think Ken doesn't have the greatest ground buns, right? A little bit stubby. He really shines once he gets in those close quarter scenarios. He can kind of start getting you with throw baits and shimmies and whatnot.
And still not having a grounded 3-frame normal is Ken. He still has to rely on Tatsu on reversal as a defensive option, but it's more so kind of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm not really afraid of it anymore. Sure, it leads to a ton of damage, but there's way more risk involved than reward.
Yeah, exactly, right? And I think that's kind of why he feels that Ken will struggle in the Bison matchup, because Bison a lot of the time doesn't really need to play risky in this matchup. He can kind of just bully, build up that chip damage, build up that gray life, and then just cash out on a big throw or a big shimmy attempt. So we'll see if Lord Ahmed will be able to utilize that type of offense up against the Ken, or if Darkfella will be able to respond in kind, right? We know Ken is still a very explosive character. He can definitely overwhelm someone like Bison, who has a lack of defensive options. Has that 3-framer, of course, but no invincible reversal until he gets that full critical art.
I gotta be a nerd and say this is an excellent choice for the Ken costume, man. You got the alpha color, or excuse me, alpha costume with the old school player 2 color. I like that. I like that a lot.
This is definitely clean. Ooh. I like him already throwing the projectile back. Make him think about it. Give me that again.
Now he has it in his arsenal. Okay, I like that. Yeah, dashing a back throw in kind of contention of the Psycho Axe, although it was already recovered. Lord Ahmed was kind of put in check.
Yeah, you can see there's been a lot of V reversals once. Oh, these players put themselves in the corner as well, but this time Darkfella has the corner. Tries to get a throw bait attempt there. Lord Ahmed not giving it to him, but we got the V-trigger activation off the slide. Catches him with the, caught the backdash actually with the EX. Now we're going to get the forward throw. Big distance. Yeah, that's why he puts the fireball on him. Respects the EX.
Oh, give me that. No buttons being pressed here. Darkfella just using the V-reversal. You know, that's a great choice too, but let the trigger wind down.
Oh my god, behind the back.
Oh,
she got clipped by the Psycho Axe. Still Lord Ahmed in control here in the corner.
Oh,
Keeping him
no.
locked up, but finally whiffing a big button, and Darkfella getting the crouch medium punch whiff punish.
One of the dangerous things about Bison is how well he is, how well he does in terms of getting the chip damage in, the gray life in, and also having a very long range back throw to kind of close the gap. DF wasn't afraid of any of that.
Oh no, and he actually catches Lord Ahmed flinching here, already in the corner. Can't utilize those big buttons if you don't have any space to work with. Nice back throw on the V reversal. Oh, and now I like the slowing down from Darkfella, right? It's like, bro, you got to come to me at this point. Hasn't done a lick of damage.
Not yet. And of course, Lord Ahmed opting to get the projectile and keep it of his own, but still doesn't make anything of it. EX cycle, or excuse me, big crush counter already.
Yes, indeed. Actually, stopping short with a scissor kick as well to set up shop. Gets the forward throw. Doesn't want to let too much of that stun deplete. Great V-shift, but an even better stand medium punch.
And you see Ahmed kind of testing DF. Darkfellow was like, yeah, come over here. I got some bufferable normals too. Let's see what you're about. But DF doing a great job of sussing that out.
Ooh, and then the dash actually bypassing the V reversal while putting the EX Cycle Blast after the fireball gets the cross up. Trying to break his ankles, but staying alive for now.
That's the thing. He broke his ankles, but opted not to score, right? It was just a little bit of damage that wasn't as intimidating. But now Darkfellow has another chance. Big, important tech there. Lord Ahmed with the jump in. That's going to be more than enough. Ties it all up against Darkfellow here in the first game.
And that's what's so dangerous about throwing a fireball in a low health scenario like that, is that you take that risk, and if your opponent's jumping, you're dead. Wow, big slide. Talk about risk being taken. Lord Ahmed willing to show the cards early. Nice air to air.
I like that from Darkfellow. Immediately sniffing at Lord Ahmed's approach in the air.
Oh, challenging with the 3-frame right there. Hold up. I like that V reversal, the +1 Psycho Axe.
Oh, and the trade-off. That was way better for Lord Ahmed.
Yeah, it was. Oh, another trade. It's going to result in Darkfellow being knocked down, so Lord Ahmed will take it.
Darkfellow getting interrupted with run pressure that is not real. Lord Ahmed completely calling him out on his first attempt trying to do so.
Yeah, I love that. Loading up the fireball again. Ooh, no challenge on the EX. It looked like he was trying for a DP. Might have got crossed up because only a crouch medium punch came out. Let me see here. V-trigger activation is available for Lord Ahmed. He's going to pop after the scissor kick.
Doesn't have the meter to make full or get full advantage of it, though. There it is. He just built it up after that second scissor kick. That's kind of what bugs me a little bit about M. Bison activation outside of meter, is that you're not going to have any real use of it outside of like a better dash, maybe like side switching off of a Devil's Reverse. But other than that, it's so tough to really get the most, like the utmost potential from it.
Yeah, you can see he was pretty disciplined and compact about even his reset right there, right? Maybe you could be like, okay, he can dash through and maybe catch him sleeping a little bit with a cross-up or something like that.
Yeah.
But he didn't even try that, right? He was just like, okay, after this stand scenario, I'm just going to go with crouch medium kick or crouch short, whatever it was. He just didn't even want to risk that. So Lord Ahmed keeping it compact, and with that V-trigger 1, I mean, still pulls out the victory.
Starting things off pretty well. Lord Ahmed dashing up to Darkfellow's face. Reversal uppercut. Heavy punch style.
Bruh. He's like, this fist is on fire. It's greater than the Psycho Power.
What was that in the movie?
For real. Oh, again, trying to check him with this stand heavy punch. Oh, no cross cut for you, but not a big punish.
Not at all against or from Lord Ahmed. I mean, the intention was there. It's just didn't get it in time. Ooh.
Yeah, he might just not had a charge or something. I'm not sure.
Probably.
But yeah, he could have even gone with the fire, the flame. Oh, yes. Yeah, he was lying in wait.
I like that. Big counter hit conversion off the target combo. Actually, just target combo in general. What am I saying?
Oh, yes. And he got the back medium punch. Nice confirm off of it as well. What are we going to do with it? We're going to get a shimmy. Oh, no. It's just the tick jab pressure.
And the overhead from above, the thunder kick. Just in case you were blocking low, I'm going to hit you with this one.
Watch that cap, fam. What are we doing next? Yeah, a couple of neutral jumps. Maybe trying to bait out a scissor kick. One of the slides, perhaps, as well. Of course, Bison's got a plethora of long-range options.
Yeah, he's going to be moving forward no matter what. Lord Ahmed, again, very aware of that now. Kind of reluctant to move forward unless there's something behind it, like this projectile. Now with the plus frames. Again, catching Darkfellow, trying to move out of the way. Gets caught by the 3-framer. Big interruption off against the run.
Yeah, counter hit on the stand medium kick. Rarely do you see that move get a combo off of. Oh, no, he committed to the stand fierce.
You're pretty much treating that like a fireball as well. Tons of recovery, and now it's all Darkfellow gets interrupted instead.
Oh, yeah, tech throw. That's a big tech throw for this scenario. And we got a V reversal. You not going anywhere. Back medium punch. What's the mix going to be? Fakes the overhead, but he doesn't bite.
Oh, boy. Oh, Lord Ahmed doesn't get a continuation off of it. Other side for the Devil's Reverse.
Oh,
That could have been huge. That could have been absolutely huge from Darkfellow. Because of crouch medium punch getting buffed, you could have had more time, or you do have more time to get the critical art on.
I thought we were going to see it, Jeremy. I thought we were going to see the crouch medium punch directly to the critical art.
Oh, no. Oh, no. What's going on? Spaghetti everywhere.
Yeah, damage being left on the table left and right, but we got the corner scenario now. Don't let him out of here. He may have left some damage out, but don't let him get some real estate for free. V-ship punish.
Yeah, they're just enjoying Italy, right? What better place to enjoy your spaghetti than in Italy, right? Right in the port.
That's what I'm talking about. We got the sightseeing, and my man is seeing stars right now. That's what we're going with here. Critical art just for some salt in the wound, fam?
No, it's seasoning, brother. It's seasoning.
Ooh, for sure.
Critical art is just part of the spice of life. You know what I'm saying? You
I
gotta
like
make
that.
sure it's a spicy meatball at the end of it.
Give me some ghost pepper pasta, bro.
Oh, boy, that'll do some damage for sure. Oh, I had that not too long ago. And I'll tell you what, Ken has all of that and more. Enough to tie it up. Darkfella, again, really taking advantage of the situation and really changing up the pace on how he wants to disturb or at least interrupt Lord Ahmed. I was thinking of LA. It's like, say LA,
Yeah.
but Lord Ahmed. And again, the choices of normals has been very, very well timed.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you need as Ken in this matchup, right? We talked about how on the ground, Bison does outrange him a lot of the time, has faster buttons, has the 3-frame. But Ken has just been picking his right spots and really has been bulldogging his way in, right? We talked about it. As soon as he can get into that close quarters range, he's quite good. And that's why Lord Ahmed is prioritizing keeping him at a distance at this point.
And you see Darkfella kind of reluctant to even try to contest any sort of form of like Devil's Reverse or Head Stomp. He opted to use the V-Shift, which is a big telltale sign that Lord Ahmed should probably use it a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure, right? Put him in that scenario, bait it out. V-Ship, of course, can be punished.
He tried to throw it. You saw the
did.
startup.
He did try to throw it. That's unfortunate. He's got to make sure that doesn't like haunt him a little bit too much. Because that is definitely something to get tilted by easily.
No anti-air there present from Lord Ahmed. But the interruption is he saw the run. Back throw now. It's a Psycho X coming. You know it is.
That's why we're going to be reversal. Off actually checks the EX with a crouch medium kick.
Jump back jab. Way to reset the situation. Devil's Reverse past the fireball. Punishing the fireball, actually. Meaningless. Give me that.
Oh, and that V-skill actually gave him V-trigger as well, absorbing that fireball. So Lord Ahmed has that available, but a big commitment on the Psycho Axe, and that's going to cost him his life with the last hit of EX Tatsu.
You know, we talked about that earlier. Darkfella opting to go for the neutral jumps. We saw it a couple times over to bait Lord Ahmed in terms of what he wants to do. Big crush. Actually, just a solid crush counter. Now pushes to the corner with the forward throw. Testing to see. He let it rip and still converted off the counter hit. It's all Darkfella right now.
What are we doing with, a little bit too far on the back medium punch. Now actually corners himself. Can Ahmed bring it back? Has some gray life. He needs to cash out on it, though. Oh, and he does. Crouch medium punch. No big damage afterwards, though. And Darkfella doing a great job prioritizing getting out of the corner, but gets stopped.
Back throw now. Psycho Axe incoming. Oh, no. Dash up instead. Really conditioning Darkfella to anticipate the Psycho Axe instead.
Yes, I love that. Switching up the options. He needs something big here. Hellfire. Wow, and gets the Psycho Blast. Thought it was going to be too late. Oh, stuffs the crouch pierce attempt, but not the DP.
Just raw activation.
Ooh, got the fireball startup. EX DP. We ain't scared.
Through the fires and flames, Darkfella is willing to live by the DP, and this, unfortunately, not die by the DP. Very good decision making. I like that risk.
Yeah, and we hadn't really seen a lot of Wake Up EX DPs, right? The only one that really stood out in my mind was the reversal DP, but that was a standing scenario, the raw heavy punch DP, you know, in that block string scenario. So that was real good. He saved the Wake Up EX DP for one of the last moments of the game. And when you've played a full set like that and you haven't had to consider that option, it is so hard to remember that at that last moment where you're trying to clutch out the round. So great stuff. Great decision making from Darkfella. He's going to move on to round 2 of Losers Top 16.
Yeah, he has to face off, I believe, against Meto Zorro, who rocks the jewelry. So we're going to see how that plays out way later. In fact, we have Ice Candy going up against Nerzul 82 coming up next. Ice Candy rocking Zeku and Nerzul rocking Nikali.
Oh, all right. This is going to be an action-packed match then, of course. Both very aggressive characters. Nikali, a little underrepresented nowadays. Zeku, kind of the talk of the town a little bit from what I've seen on Twitter. Well, everybody's been like top 5, maybe the best character. So, I mean, Zeku has always been a very dangerous character, I think, for sure. And then in this meta, especially online, I think he is very difficult to deal with. Of course, having the run, having the EX run as well, just very good at getting the opponent to flinch.
And I think one of the things you saw on social media, I think I saw the same thing, was Zeku doing a meaty V reversal on certain normals, on certain like longer frame normals, being able to convert off of that too. That's pretty good. Like a handful of characters, only a handful of characters have access to that. But again, seeing that kind of tech, Zeku has it like super consistent. But I do want to talk about Nikali a little bit. He did get some quality changes, especially with the most recent balance patch, like the 5.5 balance patch. Having an uppercut reach further out, like the jab uppercut, gives him access to more consistent punishes. It may not be like the biggest damage, but the fact of the matter is he does get to set himself up for even more offense afterwards, whether it's not like an Oki. He gets like he at least gets like VCL setups, or at least enough range to kind of like walk up and get some normals up. But for the most part, Nikali had a significant change to his V trigger 1. Not only does it run out, but it's a 2-bar V trigger, so you get to build it up even faster than you did before, right? You do have access, or at least are able to throw out V reversals more liberally, or even like a V shift without having to worry about it too much being 2 bars, right? We see how fast 2-bar V triggers can really change the pace of the game, and that's pretty critical for someone like Nikali.
I really like both of those changes from Nikali because, as you said, the horizontal extension on the DP allows for just a quality of life change, right? More consistent on the conversions. But then, yeah, the 2-bar V trigger is going to allow him to use the new system mechanic V shift more liberally. So I really do like that change going hand in hand with the fact that the system is changing. They also changed Nikali, who is a character that has been very reliant on that V trigger since launch, right? It's always been about getting into that V trigger, getting into the enhanced dash speed, and just in general. So I really like them balancing it in that case where it's like it'll run out, but you have more opportunities to use this V shift or V reversal and still get to that point, unlike before.
On top of that, they kind of increased or buffed one of the core mechanics, or one of the biggest mechanics that Nikali has, which is the command grab, increase on the stun and increase on the damage. Like, you're going to be seeing that a little bit more often than not as Nikali, or you should, honestly, because that's a great move to throw out against somebody who's very strong on defense, because you can't tech that, right? Command grabs has been like the thorn on a good majority of players' sides. If they don't read it correctly, it's going to be so difficult. And against someone like Nikali, who hits hard off of heavier normals like medium punches or even like fierces, that crush counter, that's going to be very hard to make those solid reads.
Yeah, it's always about that grappler's chance, right? And a lot of the time, it's really the bane of, as you said, of good defensive players' existence. Because a lot of the time, if you're really good defensively, right, you're just going to block it out. And then in Street Fighter V, you can't really react to throws, but you'll have fuzzy timings, right? You'll have these delay tech options where there's certain timings where players will more likely throw you or go with certain options. And a lot of the time, good defensive players will have those options ready to deal with. But a command throw, there's no really dealing with that, right? You can have like maybe a fuzzy jump setup, but there's so many ways to kind of vary your timing with command grabs, especially with like a Nikali. If he gets into that V-trigger activation, he's going to be closing the distance in an instant because of the dash and the tick setups. It'll definitely be very hard. And the command grabs just always open up even the strongest of defensive players. So yeah, I would love to see him utilize that for sure if we get to that point.
I swear, I hope they use these characters. Let's take a look at the quote from both players from the loser's side. It's going to be Ice Candy and Nerzel. Ice Candy says, "I'm really happy to be in top 16. May the connection be with me and also with thee." To be honest with you, I'm hoping for the best, Ice Candy. I feel you on that one, brother.
Yeah, may the connection be with you and your spirit for sure. Ice Candy, of course. Let us see what his opponent has to say as well. Of course, it's going to be Nerzel. This is my third top 16 for CPT online events, and it was both fun and difficult. Good luck, everyone. I love that. You know what I mean? That's one of the parts of the competition, right? It's fun, but it's difficult, and it's just how we grow as players. If it's not, as a wise man once said, right, without struggle, there is no progress. So the top 16s need to be difficult for you to prove that you are capable of getting to the top 8, and of course, just improving as a player. If you're just rolling over everybody for free, I doubt you're doing much improving.
Or having any fun.
Yeah, or having any fun.
That gets pretty dull pretty quickly. It's like, man, being the best in the world in this way, it's kind of lame.
Yeah, for sure. You always want people on your level to continue to push you, right? That's what we've seen from the greatest fighting game players, what they echo when it comes to their sentiments and the competition they look for. So that's a really dope from both players, right? They have their heads on straight, definitely with the proper perspectives of competitors, of elite competitors. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they play it out.
So again, this is the Middle East top 16, just shy of 100 competitors, but for the most part, these guys are here to play. We've seen the pace that they've set in the winner's side. It's been nothing but 2-0s for the top 3 matches, but then on out, we've had more Street Fighter V. So we're looking forward to seeing that a little bit more. I want to see it go down to the wire. Is it going to happen? It's going to be Zeku versus Nikali through Ice Candy and Ner'zhul. Let's get it started here in game 1.
Yes, let's see indeed. Of course, Ner'zhul, as you mentioned, we're going to be rocking with Nikali. Ooh, Ice Candy, though. The big Graham early. Already switching into young Zeku once he gets the opportunity, though. Ooh, that stand fierce. Couldn't quite get the second hit on that target combo on the slide punish. Oh, yeah, no cross-cut, uppercut, or anything like that. Able to jump out of the corner for free, but got a sweep. It's the crush counter set up with a DP whip afterwards. Just blocking it out right now.
Oh.
Does test him with another jump.
I think there was an attempt to do something. We saw Ner'zhul do a crouch jab. Might have been possibly an input. Oh, boy. Here comes
Ouch.
Ice Candy now.
Oh,
Check the lows, fam.
the thing was with Ner'zhul, he didn't even have any space to walk back either, so just kind of got caught autopiloting a little bit on defense and holding straight back, got his legs clipped.
And even outside, oh, wait a minute. I'm going to hold my tongue real quick. Going airborne, Ice Candy. Hitting them with the sweetness.
And I love him. He keeps trying to catch these big stand fierce hits, and he's doing it again. That's a great button for young Zeku. And again, oh,
Ooh.
no.
Oh, he dropped the continuation. That was a counter hit, too, off the stand roundhouse.
Yeah, it was definitely a combo. Well, he just dropped it. Inputted the stand medium punch a little bit too late. Ooh,
Opted not to go for the critical art. But it doesn't matter what your name is.
That's for sure. Ner'zhul going to be holding this L. First game to the Zeku. Ice Candy.
That was all Ice Candy the entire time, no doubt about it. That offense, again, just picking apart Ner'zhul's options on defense. And I got to say, you mentioned it earlier, one of the significant ones, not blocking low whilst in V-trigger against Zeku.
Yeah.
That's huge. Any sort of low leads to big damage, no matter what.
Yeah, and that's what Zekus are going to be looking for, right? They're like, oh, I finally have something to convert from my low, because young Zeku doesn't have anything. The crouch medium kick isn't special cancelable.
No.
So it's only once you get into the V-trigger where it becomes a big threat, so you always got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, the only other way now is him having bar, right? If you do any sort of low, you can connect it into stand light into EX dash now in this version.
Yeah, there you
but
go,
it costs
true.
meter.
Yes, true.
Ooh. Walking the overhead. Now it's his turn to strike. Is there going to be a command grab? It sure is.
Oh.
He's not going to do it again, though.
No, he's not, but he catches the flinching. However, doesn't convert for the full stun. Gonna let some of that deplete as well, and he commits to the slide and catches him. Tries for a shimmy attempt, doesn't, but he gets him low again.
And the
Ooh.
back throw after the frame kill. Just in case you thought there was a meaty, nah, the back throw would be more than enough to suffice, putting him at match point.
The back throw did so much damage. I know Zeku's back throw does a lot, but man, that's impressive every time.
Like across the board, they've taken down young Zeku's like damage output and stun output. But man, that back throw, nah.
Yeah, right?
It still hurts.
He still be just chunking people. Oh yeah, try to catch a pressing button on that stand heavy kick. Whoa.
He was just running at him. Run at the beast.
All right, slide into the activate. What are we doing? Wow, actually tries for the throw that time. He's been doing a lot of throw baits, so.
On the same side as well, there's not much young Zeku could do on defense, right? He has to hold this.
Oh no, he's trying
The
to press
reset.
button.
Oh, he tried to grab
Not like
him.
this. Oh, gets the throw bait on that one as well. Tries to get one more. That would have been death, honestly.
I like that. Oh no, Sakamoto disappears too. Come on, man. Ner'zhul, a lot cleaner this time around, getting himself on the board.
Oh, you can see Ice Candy feeling the pressure a little bit here. Immediately goes to the young Zeku, and he was trying to swing out the gate. Nice DP.
Like this from Ner'zhul, a lot cleaner of a game for him.
Oh yeah, Ice Candy's been going for a lot of haymakers. You can see again, looking for the stand fierce. Nice, actually gets the sweep there and confirming it so he doesn't cancel.
Man, he's spending a lot of meter to keep this advantage up, and Ice Candy just has to sit back and take it. Big,
nice.
important tech.
Oh no, failed to confirm right there. That's all right. He finally gets the throw bait, but again, that stand medium punch. He's pressing it a little bit too
Oh,
late.
he pressed the button! No, he didn't!
Okay. Oh, but he doesn't confirm for the kill. It's all right. Crouch medium punch.
What's going on?
It's not your turn. It's Ner'zhul's turn, and he's tying the setup one up.
I thought I saw a button, but it was just his hair in the way. I legit thought
thought it was a
Ner'zhul
button,
pressed
too.
a button, but he was just blocking because I saw like something wavy happen. But man, there was a couple of mishaps there.
Yeah.
Couple of mishaps.
A little scurry for sure. Some of the damage left on the table. We saw that super only get punished by a normal. That could have been the kill. And you really don't want to leave these characters with chances that they don't deserve because they are explosive.
On the way through, and a great time to transform into young Zeku to start your offense. Again, while it's in your turn, this is fantastic right now. Ooh, get off me.
Yeah, just using a raw DP, not even EX right there.
Hey, that's not bad though. While in the old Zeku form, you have access to an EX move to get off or get someone off you.
Yeah, exactly. He has a real EX DP, real reversal in old Zeku. Oh, but he goes right back to young because he has the V-trigger.
The back throw. You better check the lows.
Instead, doesn't check his own dome piece. Now we got an activation from Nakali.
And this is a whole different one. It's trigger 2.
Oh, no! He didn't think he was going to be left standing, so he didn't cancel the V-trigger and then gets caught reaching Nerzul 1 round away.
Oh, this has been a huge tie turner for Nerzul, sitting at match point, but oh! Okay, that could have been huge. Ice Candy spending the EX bar early. Big crush counter, side switch.
The old raw stomp actually caught him, trying to whip punish it a little bit too late. Ooh, Ice Candy wanting to force the situation, gets the big counter hit and the proper combo this time. Ooh, let's go, gets the reset. That was too clean.
No, now he's finessing him with unknown territory, man. Look at that. Oh, and it hits the
stop.
reset.
Ooh.
It hits on the way down now. That is a buff.
That was so cool, but now he's got to survive this. We got V-trigger activation for
The
Nerzul.
spit. Do it again. Hawk that loogie.
V-reversal, but you're not out of this just yet. Another V-reversal. Finally get some pressure. Reprieve for a moment, only to get EX DP.
Don't get EX
Stay
command
in the
grab.
corner.
He didn't.
You
He
knew.
didn't get EX command grab because he did it too early.
Oh my gosh, you knew. Wow, this is the last round 2 in this set. Definitely the closest match we've seen so far. Air to air and gets the cross under. EX gonna push him towards the corner here.
This is great for Ice Candy now. Interrupting the overhead. He knew it was coming, but Nerzul on the offensive now. Ice Candy just backing away, still in young Zeku form.
Yeah, does get knocked down. Oh my goodness, doesn't convert off that jump, and now we got the air to air from Nakali. Gets the counter hit. No!
Oh, no conversion off.
Yep, and then he's gonna punch the shoulder. Didn't have any mirror to cancel it into anything there. Now we gotta cancel to the V-trigger.
He could have uppercut there, but still Ice Candy gets away with it clean.
Oh, he went immediately into the end, and yeah, that's -2. EXDP.
Get off me. The V-reversal doesn't pay off. Again, another big counter hit, benefiting Nerzul to move on into the rounds now. Oh, Ice Candy. He had the V-reversal blocked.
Yeah.
He still pressed the button. That was tough. He tried to steal his turn, but Nerzul, with authority too, he's like, no, this is my turn. I'm taking it back, and I'm going to do it to make sure you feel it, and eliminates Ice Candy.
And that's one of the things that I think really was the key to defeat for Ice Candy. Was a lot of the time I think he got too anxious. As soon as he started getting put on the back foot, he started looking for haymakers. He really wanted to steal his turn in any possible scenario right there. You see the V-reversals. He pressed buttons after block V-reversals multiple times. You can see as soon as Nakali won that first game, he came out the next match, immediate young Zeku switch, immediate stand fierce, immediate sweeps. Like he was trying for the haymakers. And I think he just got put on a little bit too much of a back foot and just panicked a little bit too much. I think if he kept it more compact, it would have been a closer set, even though it was mad close regardless.
And you saw shades of that too when you saw a little bit of the impatience kind of weighing in on Ice Candy, where he did just a raw run into the sweep. Had that been blocked, you were eating a ton of damage, my friend. Like that's something that instantly shows you, okay, this guy has lost his patience a little bit.
Yeah.
Like he got lucky with this hit. Not gonna lie to you, there was full screen. There was a lot of time to kind of anticipate it or see it telegraphed. Like, okay, you could kind of see his mental cracking just a little.
I will say, clean composure on the offense, though, because when he got that opportunity to put him in the V-skill reset, that was nasty, bro. Completely nasty. So big ups, definitely. That was a dope Zeku play for sure. And then we're going to be moving on, of course, in the losers top 16. As you can see, we're going to have Ice Candy drop down, and Nerzul going to be moving on to face Volcano Rosso in our round 2 of top 16. But we're going to be dropping down to Benny Best versus Plus Ultra, and of course Dragon Slayer versus Assume as well.
Yeah, again, that man has changed his name twice over, about as many names as characters as he plays, to be quite honest with you. But again, we've seen a big transition from the winner's side, right? After those first 3 matches, we had 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. Then we're starting to see a little bit more action in Street Fighter V. But we got to take a break real quick. We are going to continue with the loser side with plenty more Street Fighter V from the Middle East after this short break. Stay tuned.
Line it up. Why don't power to the earth? See what I'm really made of.
Uh-oh. Pleased to meet you.
The honor was mine.
I'll settle this.
I'm shaking here.
Bow down before my psycho power.
And welcome back to twitch.tv/Capcom Fighters. Y'all know what it is. This is top 16 for Middle East 1 of the Capcom Pro Tour. Of course, I am Ringe. This is Vicious. And we've already gone through our round 1 of winners top 16. So we got our top 8 winners for tomorrow. And we got one match in the books for our top 16 losers round 1. I think we got more than one match in the books, right? We got one more remaining in the losers bracket, or a couple.
We have two.
We have two,
we have
right?
about
Yeah.
two to settle in to get ourselves ready for round 2. And again, we're kicking it off with Benny Best as well as Plus Ultra.
We're going to see if he brings the UA to Benny Best or if he's going to fail the class. We'll see. Dragon Slayer and Assume also at the bottom of losers round 1. We're going to get to that after the Benny Best versus Plus Ultra match, as we mentioned before. So do we have the characters for these guys on deck? Do we know what matchup we're looking at?
Absolutely. Benny Best also rocking the jury. So there's 2 juries in this top 16. However, this is a very special matchup. Plus Ultra rocking the Minot. A character we have yet to see in our Capcom Pro Tour this year. Has not been represented yet. But I'll tell you what, Minot is going to be a sight to see. We've seen a lot of nerfs go towards her.
Yeah.
More so around punishing the crystal ball. The bane of a lot of players' existence in that matchup. Having the most versatile normals. Throwing out that crystal ball was so hard to contest. But now, they've made it a little easier to whiff punish. I know there were a couple videos like easier to whiff punish, and people were still kind of like missing getting counter hit, like counter poke. I get it. They can't do it like entirely, right? But for the most part, they made it a little easier to whiff punish. That's kind of what they did across players, like, you know, throughout the entirety of those entirety of those nerfs, right? They hit everybody across the board. So Minot definitely the one that kind of suffered a little bit on that, but does have some very neat things with her V skills. They made both of her V skills a little bit more rewarding in terms of the damage, right? Depending on whether or not you have orb, V skill being one of them, right? If you have the orb on you, if you were to V skill, it pops them up higher and it pops them up closer for more potential juggles. Whereas V skill 2 also, it adds towards, like, it gives you another juggle towards it, so you get more consistent confirms off of it, or at least better damaging routes, I should say.
And with the encouragement towards V-Skill, right, that encourages or that increases the V meter, which of course, Minot, that's what she's all about, baby, right? When she gets that V trigger, then you have to deal with all the orbs, and that's what the Minot players always spend their lap time with, right? Once the orbs are on the table, that's when they're most dangerous. So we're going to see if we get to that point quicker with the enhanced V skills, right? That's going to be something on the table. But Minot versus Jury in general, I feel like Minot, despite having not been seen much in the top 16, in this matchup specifically, I feel like she should do fine.
It's kind of tough. So she plays the kind of game that Jury wants to play, which is get away from me. And Jury has to really take this kind of moment to get all of her resources going. Like, it depends on what V skill she has, but she has to get that V skill charged up. She has to get her kicks stored up. She can play the kind of fireball game to kind of tease Minot into, like, pressing buttons into it or whatever. But for the most part, if Minot kind of walks Jury down with the normals that she has or throws out the orb first to gain its state, that's going to be a problem because I don't think Jury has a great time handling against the orb. She could contest it, right? She could store a fireball or any of the kicks to kind of negate the fireball or the orb coming in. So that's going to be something that really Benny Best has to consider when playing this matchup. But for the most part, if Minot or if Plus Ultra could kind of see the rhythm that Benny Best is playing, she could easily take the estate away from Jory, which can be a problem.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I imagine the matchup in my head playing out like. Because of the long distance on Minot and her normals on the orb, sending it out and stuff like that, it's definitely going to be tough for Jury ever to get the breathing room she wants, right? Because like you mentioned, she wants to store all those resources. So, but we don't really see Minot a lot of the time rush down like that, right? They're not really prioritizing closing that distance. So I want to see if he is a little bit more familiar with this matchup, knowing that Jury wants to get back at the beginning of the round 2 and store up, if he plays a little bit more aggressive Minot than we're used to seeing.
I'm kind of curious as to what Jury's going to do on offense, like in the hands of Benny Best, right? I want to see what Jury can do to really pose a threat against someone like Plus Ultra and his Minot, right? We've talked about Minot in previous iterations not having the best defense for the most part. If the orb is out there, if she loses control of orb and it's like behind her and Jury's like in your face already, that could be a huge down factor for Minot players.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. I'm like, will there be a lot of scenarios that come up like that where she's going to end up being on the wrong side of the orb? I mean, maybe if the Jury can catch her slipping on like the V skill, the switch sides, right? I'm trying to figure out if there's going to be common scenarios like that. But that definitely needs to be a priority for the Minot player, right? Not get put in that position. Whatever you do, that's the best defense, right? It's not getting put in the positions where you're weak in the first place. So that's definitely what the Minot is going to be looking for, trying to control the neutral game. And yeah, this definitely seems like a matchup where Jury wants to be the one that knocks her down first and then plays that close quarters game and not let her build that space that she wants.
Let's see if it all comes to fruition between these two, Benny Best and Plus Ultra. I do believe we have our quotes ready from both of these players. Let's get right into it. Benny Best says, "I hope to show my best. There are a lot of strong players in the Middle East. You are not wrong about that." Again, this is the top 16, my friend. There's gonna be strong players, and it's great that we get to highlight them and see the humility they show in each and every one of these quotes, saying that they hope to do their best. Let's take a look at what Plus Ultra had to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got 16 strong players we're looking at today, and this is the second time I've reached top 16. It's very exciting. I'll do my best, says Plus Ultra, and that's all we ask for, babies. You do your best, have fun while you're at it, and we'll see if you can make it to the second round of top 16 and try to get in that top 8 to get some money in the prize spot and, of course, that Capcom Cup spot.
Oh, yeah, I'm liking that. Let's see if this is the redemption arc for Plus Ultra, or will Benny Best prove that his best is better than yours in this matchup? Jury versus Minot, a match we rarely get to see. Again, I've only had this experience with Filipino man playing against Jury, but that's very rare, to be honest with you. That's like him just kind of back in the day playing in ranked.
I was going to say, right, like this man has put Minot on the bench for quite some time, right? He's played a lot of Chun-Li, and of course, with the addition of Rose, I feel like Minot's going to stay on the bench forever when it comes to Filipino man's lineup.
And other than that, like, where else are you going to see Jury versus Minot unless you're really like scurrying through the CFN replays? And even if you do, I've done that before. When I'm trying to learn the Minot matchup, I can't find any. I can't. It's so difficult to find this specific matchup. So you already know off the bat, this is going to be a treat because this isn't just any Jury or Minot. This is a top 16 caliber Middle East qualifier for the Capcom Pro Tour. This is the kind of match you could expect. It's going to be a banger. Jury versus Minot. Here we go. Benny Best versus Plus Ultra in a 2 out of 3. Loser turns off their console.
Yeah, right. This is not Johnny Donuts versus Jimmy Hot Dogs, right? We got top 16 caliber Jury and Minot play right now. So we're going to see how the players approach this matchup, of course. We'll see if Minot can get that neutral game that she wants to start early. Of course, a traditional V-skill and V-trigger for both sides. But yeah, we mentioned, right, at the beginning of the round, Minot likes to play that distance game, and that's going to give Jury the opportunity to load up.
Man, you still went through with that? Benny Best went for a huge risk, going for the medium kick ender.
I love it. Let her know nice and early, I'm willing to take these risks. Ooh, and we got the anti-air. Wow. Just straight up tried to throw bait with a flip kick off the rip.
Ooh, and a big crush counter. Yeah, dashing up to continue the combo. Does get some storage and the pressure as well. Yeah, the pinwheel from that far away, very hard to punish. Ooh. Go for a ride, buckle in, overhead. That's just a punish on the throw. Either way, Benny Best swinging in round 1.
Yeah, the best choices possible when it comes to attacking. He has chosen pretty much every right way to approach this Monat. A lot of time, yeah, you're just gonna take this opportunity to load up again.
And this is great. Yeah, it does have the V-skill storage. Has the medium kick also, just in case he gets a confirm.
Ooh, have a V-skill to close some distance, but yeah, great anti-air on plus ultra side and gets the forward throw.
This is what we like to see now. Ooh, big anti-air clutch from Benny Best. Gets a side switch now. Plus ultra is stuck with this orb also.
Oh, long distance on the jump heavy kick though. Still with a life lead here. Actually puts the EX elbow at full screen. That's not going to make Benny Best block.
Oh, and such a smart decision to use that V-skill. He knows this matchup pretty well. He's flying. Opts not to V-trigger, but there was no punish from the side of Plus Ultra. He's not familiar with that flip kick.
Yeah, definitely not. I feel like Benny Best has done multiple risks seeing what Plus Ultra has as punishes here. Now, yeah, that's plus frames. Maybe you can't take your turn there. Oh, no! Oh, but he gets crossed up after getting clipped by the orb initially and completes the combo. Plus Ultra stealing the round back. We talked about it, right? As soon as that V-trigger is active, that's where the Monat players shine. Oh! Wow, recovered and actually caught him with a Stampede push on the other side.
Really unfortunate for Plus Ultra, but great for Benny Best, honestly. A little bit high off the mark. Did get the counter hit. Didn't get to convert, though, into the EX kicks.
Yeah, V skilled up again. So that's a threat. We've already seen Benny Best utilize that. Wow, actually got drill kicked for it this time. Clean cross up.
Yeah, does get a punish, but it's just a jab.
Yeah, he really is like, I'm going to take these risks as jury because your punishes have been like lights. That's it, right? So you might as well.
Lights or nothing at all? Yeah, Benny Best, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's pretty much the words he's trying to speak against Plus Ultra in terms of his gameplay.
Yeah, man, at this point, knowing he has the life lead, not going to get antsy, not going to risk anything, gets the cross up. Even more of a life lead now.
No interruptions either from Plus Ultra after the blocked fireball. Again, Benny Best taking full advantage of the lack of matchup knowledge against Plus Ultra, but here we go. Oh, that could have been huge.
Oh, and then got caught reaching. Benny Best teaching him lesson after lesson in this matchup so far. Yeah, he's really not challenging where he needs to. We've seen punishes only not come out or just be like a light punch into nothing. So, yeah, definitely right now, for Benny Best, he's just going to keep playing his jury game, right? He's like, bro, I see that you are not completely aware of what your capabilities are up against my character, so I'm going to abuse it.
That should be a big green light for Benny Best. However, when you're thinking about Plus Ultra, you kind of saw the potential of offense that he does have once he gets started. So we need to see that come out in fruition. Like, honestly, it's just a defensive thing that Plus Ultra has to get over.
Exactly.
That's just the biggest hurdle right now. He's just a little unfamiliar against the jury matchup, and you see it shining for Benny Best. It's just now all problematic without your orb. You better call it back. Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
You know he wanted that back throw, but it looked like she was still in hit stun. Ends up punishing his throw with her own throw. And now Benny Best 1 round away from moving on.
Yeah, if she wasn't dead after that combo, you still had the rest of it afterwards. What, like a crouching medium punch into like the full hard end? Was that not full hard end? Man, I'm liking these conversions from Benny.
Yeah, and again, that flip kick whiffing. But, oh, here we go. Based on the DP this time with the shallow drill.
Yeah, I like the use of that V-skill as well. Building a little bit of V-gauge on top and the crush counter to add on to it. I'm liking this from Plus Ultra. We talked about that offense he could present. Here comes Benny Best, punishing the most out of that misplaced dive kick.
Long distance on the throw. V-trigger is active for Plus Ultra. Yeah, you knew he was going to look for an activation here. Does convert from the light punch. Let's go. V shifts away. Yeah, both players now just bagging up.
Oh, yeah, lets it rip. But speaking of, Benny Best, EX uppercut, chased down with the regular uppercut.
Nice, there we go. Gets the light into the EX this time and then explodes the orb afterwards. You're not going to get to do anything, Benny Best, with that orb on top of you.
And that was a 2-hitter, by the way. That was the tail end of that orb hitting. Very smart play from Plus Ultra. We talked about that offense shining just a little bit. That's all he really needs, but he needs to clean up his defense a little bit more. We're starting to see the punishes come out, spending the bar for it, so we'll see. Maybe that's all he really has. Without bar, maybe it's all he could do.
Yeah, and the EX flip kick working its way in. Ooh, and then acting as a throw bait.
Very grimy stuff from Benny Best. Yeah, chasing down the jump away, or jump over, I should say, with the uppercut.
She is flipping. All right, finally makes her block some orbs for just a moment. Ooh, no. Wow, counter hit light kick, but not expecting to get hit by it.
Oh, just lets it rip. Either way, he was safe, so I like that attitude from Benny Best.
Got one orb left, one in the chamber. Oh. No. Wow, actually lets the orb go.
No, but he didn't get to confirm off of it. He could have got something a little bit heavier than a light.
Okay, that is a big break, actually. The drill kick counter hitting and then gets the throw. Wow, neutral jump. He still beats to the punch. Oh my god, the forward throw.
Okay. Off suspend EX.
How is he still alive at this point? Oh,
Activation is plus. He has to hold it. He has to hold it so long as the Feng Shui engine is active. Benny Best taking full advantage of that, going for a full low block string into the fireball to go afterwards, to chase after it. That's really unfortunate for Plus Ultra, but great for Benny Best. Moving on into the bracket.
Yeah, super smart from him too, right? Because a lot of the time we saw that his opponent just wasn't really that familiar with the jury block string pressure. So why not just go for a safe plus string that's really long? It's going to make your opponent want to wiggle out, want to flinch because they've been blocking for an extended period of time. And it caught Plus Ultra once again lacking on the defensive end. Of course, you mentioned, right, his offense, we saw flashes of brilliance. And in a matchup where you're kind of inexperienced defensively, you need to make sure that your offense starts and never ends. And we saw that in a round or two, but he just couldn't keep the momentum like he needed to overcome the lack of defensive knowledge that he had in that matchup.
Yeah, so again, Benny Best moving on to face off against UAE 2020 over in losers round 2. We move on into Dragon Slayer versus Asum, where we're going to see Urian versus potentially Zeku, Rashid, Dalsim, or Ibuki.
All right, the 4 horsemen. He's got it all on lock. Arm, flare, all of them.
That's messed up, actually. Yeah, it is pretty much the 4 horsemen, right?
Yeah.
You got Zeku and Rashid, right? Those two characters still pretty strong. Rashid, again, very much so a powerhouse in the CBT, but Dalsim.
Dalsim, baby.
Don't say that word. Don't say that name 3 times in the mirror. I'll tell you what.
So he's going to yoga snipe from behind you, bro. You're not even going to get to see him in the mirror. But yeah, I mean, Dalsim, the talk of the town, right? Of course, buffed because of the V-shift, right? System mechanic definitely helping him out big time. Because a lot of the time, I mean, that character gets overwhelmed defensively. That's been Dalsim's historic weakness, is that defensively, that character is trash. You knock him down.
It's hard. It's so difficult.
You put him in a close quarter situation. His buttons, they just all get beat out. He's got no invincible reversal. You can low profile his reversal CA. So he's been a struggle defensively, not just in this game, but historically in Street Fighter. But V-Shift, of course, is a whole system mechanic that adds a defensive option, right? And we've seen people like Mr. Crimson and a lot of the other Dalsim players utilize that V-Shift in a way where they're not just relying on it, but making it so that it's one of the plethora of tools in their defensive option, right? Being more active defensively and kind of mixing that V-Shift option in to throw people off. And of course, it is just a very solid scenario in these situations against these command throw characters that really like to reset you in the air, right? Like the Mikas, like the Lauras, that are going to commit to these command throw setups. A lot of the time, the V-shift will get you out safely, and they kind of have to hard read it or call it out heavier than they usually do.
Yeah, you're thinking about the kind of attributes that Sim has as a character when it comes to like defense. His offense, I think, got way more buffed also, especially in the recent patch, right? Being able to extend your V-Trigger 2 in certain ways a lot easier, going into V-Trigger 2 more consistently off of like Gale and stuff. Even V-Trigger 1 hitting a lot further away to get those confirms where you couldn't earlier, right? You get to get the knockdown and let the burn really settle in. But that's, who knows if that's really going to be the case, because there's 3 other characters to keep in mind, right? Ibuki also being one of them on the side of Asum, a character we haven't really seen highlighted as much, right? I feel like that's more of like a specialty kind of pick, but we'll see what happens. Dragon Slayer versus Asum. Let's see what they had to say for their top 16 appearance as they get ready to duke it out.
Indeed, Asum. I will try my best. Short, sweet, and to the point, right? That's what we're looking for all our competitors today. Not slacking off, not taking the day off, trying at their A game to get to that top 8 and, of course, get that Capcom Cup spot. Let's see what his opponent has to say.
Dragon Slayer, with the potential I see in brackets, I think top 16 is going to be super interesting. Looking forward to my next match. And that's exactly the kind of attitude you should have from both players, right? I will try my best, and also looking forward to the next match. Again, this is only like means to an end, right? You're getting better and better each time playing these high caliber players in in an environment where there are stakes on the line. There is a lot of pressure in these types of events. Not only do you have, this Capcom Cup to look forward to, but also there is like cash on the line as well too.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just a big prize pool for Capcom Cup, right? Each one of these tournaments that we're having for the regions also has a prize pool on the line that I believe is paid out for top 4, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct, yeah.
So yeah, all of these players are trying to get to that top 4. You can see the $5,000 prize split for the top 4 for each regional tournament again, and of course try to get to the Capcom Cup for the big money, but you got to go through this whole bracket, and then of course you got to go through the whole Capcom Cup to get the prize pool there. And of course we also got the Intel World Open that's been going down as well. We have Infectious qualifying, I think today a bunch of people have been qualifying, Punk, Smug, all kinds of, Punk and Item, excuse
Punk
me.
and Item, yeah.
Yeah, so all kinds of players already qualifying. There's a big chunk of change on the line for that as well.
Man.
But here we go. Last round of losers, top 16, round 1. It's going to be Assume Rashid going up against the Urian.
I wanted to ask you also, we didn't have enough time. I'm like, who do you think he's going to pick? I was going to say Dawson.
I would have said Dawson
Dawson
too.
versus Urian? I think I would have liked that.
I would have said Dawson too.
Yeah, but this is fine. This is excellent.
Ooh, Red Eye Jedi for the Urian.
Here we go. Dragon Slayer versus Assume. Let's see what happens.
Ooh, already V-Skill 2 up as well, so he's going to have that enhanced fireball if he wants it. Just walk it out of that throw, though.
And Assume had the right idea, right? He tried to punish with the V-Skill to get there in time. It's just a little too late. And now Dragon Slayer already trying to push Assume to the corner, but fighting back already. 2 lows and swinging away with the crouching heavy punch.
Yeah, that's like a staple Rashid setup. Ooh, Eagle Spike on the EX, catching him flinching early. Ooh, no anti-air attempt there. Looked like Assume was thinking about some grounded options a little bit too heavily.
Yeah, it was pretty far out, too. He had to use, jump medium kick to kind of touch Rashid. If he had gone with an empty jump, Rashid would have been caught.
True. Oh, got him reaching that time. Catches the Urian. Plus frames on deck, yes. He still has a little bit of that V-Trigger too as well.
Oh, it's not going to be as big of a factor. He caught him jumping away. Big damage time to reset. No.
Oh, I wonder if he forgot that he had the V-Skill Enhanced Fireball. He did that at the very beginning of the round and had not used it.
That's true, yeah. We haven't seen it once. Oh, no punish on the overhead. Oh, boy.
No, but we are going to get a punish on that tackle for sure. Assume just a double crouch light punch. That's all the damage he needed.
A little slight mishap there from Dragon Slayer. Not being able to utilize that second mirror was pretty tough as a Urian player, not going to lie.
For sure. It feels bad, right? Age is definitely one of the main tools of your character. You got to make it pay.
Ooh. Shake his hand. That fierce pretty active. I like the punish. Boom. That's what I'm talking about. Now in the corner. Great interruption there from Assume and puts himself out of the corner.
Wow, yeah, you even saw a little shimmy attempt into the throw, so not even fully throw baiting right there, just kind of showing him something.
And I'm liking the movement that Assume is presenting as well, but Dragon Slayer again trying to just close the gap against Assume. Nice throw bait into the fierce. There's the activation route from the heavy punch, or heavy kick, excuse me.
Oh, dodges the EX. Not a full punish though, actually going to take the corner back at least.
Here's the Aegis. Gets it into it.
Oh, sandwich though, man. I'm not playing any of those games, bro.
Not even going to land on it either. Assume excellent time to spinning mixer, and the air-to-air completely there. Nice and easy. Game 1 going into Assume.
Yeah, Rashid ruling the skies as he often does. That's a great character in the air for multiple reasons. Has good air-to-air buttons. Of course, the Eagle Spike always catching people off guard as well. Just in general, definitely a menace, whether on the ground or in the air, as we just saw there. So good stuff to Assume. Taking the first game over the Urian.
And there were a couple of things I saw from Dragon Slayer that could be tightened up just a little bit, right? There was that last instance of doing that, heavy tackle towards the end. I think he wanted to do heavy tackle into V-Trigger, just missed his opportunity. It was really unfortunate, but I'm sure he's not going to let that mishap happen again.
Ooh, yeah, recovered just in time, but got caught reaching. Just a little bit too much pressure applied from that jump in.
Ooh. Very important tech for Assume. Didn't want to get put into the corner. Now Dragon Slayer just trying to find his way, using a lighter tackle to get some advantage, but Assume able to press buttons.
And again, yes, plus frames, baby. Ooh, good blocks there. Oh,
Another
but again.
one.
Oh, my God. He wants to learn all these lessons, and Assume will definitely teach him. This time gets the throw, plus frames. Ooh, another tick throw. Wow.
EX spinning mixer, not quite enough, but a tall character. Oh, yeah, the nice and easy bait. Assume going for the light Kickstarter, right? If there was a reversal headbutt, he was still going to recover in time to block, so very smart from Assume.
Exactly. That's the weakness of the reversal from Urian. Got significant startup right there, so if you meet it with light, a lot of the time you're going to recover.
kind of going tit for tat in terms of the light. And now Dragon Slayer really choosing the normals of what to use, or excuse me, how to kind of counter poke against Assume.
Yeah, V's skilling up. He'll have that enhanced fireball, but he hasn't really made use of it in the neutral. You see, there we go.
Ooh, yeah, Eagle Spike. You talked about it earlier. A real nuisance in the air, but Assume stuck in this corner now. Dragon Slayer not even trying to anti-air, but gets thrown instead. Now V's still charging up. What's going to be the approach for Dragon Slayer?
He didn't even have EX bar, but I think all those EX spikes have like made him hesitate on a lot of the anti-air attempts. He's just getting free jump ins now.
Oh, finds the mark. The first EX headbutt to land of many, hopefully. But we'll see this mirror first.
That's what I'm talking about. Let me see something with it. Okay. Give me the reset. V shifts out. Nice.
And the break to follow through. I'm liking that. Zoom in from Assume.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. That's what we mentioned.
Oh,
V-shift.
yeah.
Ooh, combos off the trade. Got him in a knockdown situation here. Ooh, trying to swing for his life. Tries to get the back throw, but no, stop. V-trigger activation off that. That will be not the kill. Oh, cross up. Protect your neck. Not going to happen. Dragon Slayer falls from the top 16 as Assume moves on to our round 2.
The man of many characters finding success already with Rashid. Again, who will he do, or who will he choose to face off against Night Masters as he moves on into round 2? Big ups to Dragon Slayer again, making it into top 16. Pretty solid considering the amount of players we had in our tournament today. It's going to be, again, very, very tough. It only gets harder, honestly, as you progress into the tournament from the loser side primarily, right?
Yeah.
We just saw a handful of players just get eliminated, but it's been pretty close for the most part. I would say, again, you see these scores here for 2-1 and 2-1, but 2-0 against Plus Ultra and Benny Best. It still was kind of going down to the wire for the most part, but I got to admit, round 2 is going to be even spicier.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to get this round 2 started. Of course, we got Metal Zorro versus DF kicking it off. Then we're going to go to Volcano Rosso versus Nazul, UAE 2020 versus Benny Best, and Night Masters versus Assume. I mean, from top to bottom, I'm really looking forward to these matches, right? Of course, this is our winners from the round 1 of top 16 facing our losers from the round 1 of top 16 winners side. So, you know, a lot of them are going to be coming for redemption. They were 1 match away from top 8, and now they're 1 match away from again. So this is their second chance. But of course, the losers bracket winners, they have that momentum, right? Carried in from that first round. They're going to be feeling good. They have a W under their belt already in this high pressure situation. So that's always a fun dynamic to me to think about when it comes to losers top 16 round 2.
Yeah, I mean, Brian F. and Rob TV kind of mentioned that earlier, right? Like when you have tournament life on the line, you have to consider everything. One of them being like the mental factor of having to cool off after a tough loss from winner's side. Like you have to wait and play your game, whereas you're playing against somebody who's just fresh off the bat, already going in for the next one, right? Darkfellow being one of those players immediately fresh from his win against Lord Ahmed's Bison. It's going to be Ken versus Metal Zorro. Metal Zorro, who fell to GTR in the Jury versus Gil matchup.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, the Gil was just kind of overwhelming, right? GTR definitely looks like at the top level when it comes to Gil play. So, overwhelmed the jury, but maybe a little bit more familiar with the matchup that he'll be presented here up against who again? It will be... Let me see. Oh, yeah, okay. Darkfellow with the Ken going up against Narzul. So, yeah, maybe a little bit more familiar with the Ken matchup. I mean, in general, I think he'll be more comfortable fighting a Shoto than Gil, right? Even though Gil is like a fireball character. Still, he just presents so many more unorthodox type setups. While Ken, on the other hand, I mean, he's going to be trying to get in your face, which Jury, of course, always wants that space at the beginning to load up. So we'll see if Ken gives her that as we jump right into it.
Yeah. I will say Darkfellow has a more methodical approach in terms of every matchup that he's played so far, or at least in the matchup that we saw him play. Metal Zorro, I feel like got a little bit flustered with just the Gil pick in general, right? He goes for these flip kicks more often than not, which isn't going to lead him into a great deal of damage. Like, if he gets a knockdown, whatever, that's great. But if he gets blocked, he's in for a world of hurt, right? Again, mistiming his opportunities to jump in on Darkfellow, neutral jump at that.
Yeah, ooh, and then he actually got counter here right there, but Darkfellow not expecting him to get hit, just tries for a throw after. V reversal to keep her locked in this corner, not give her the momentum she's looking for either. Ooh, duffed, but no counter hit. Oh. Wow. He actually just committed to the Tatsu right there despite the block.
Does have V-skill charged up. Metal Zorro kind of trying to make a little bit of progress with that fireball and move against Darkfellow, but Darkfellow unfazed at all. EX fireball to check from full screen.
And now he's just trying to lock her up here. Oh, gets the cross up as Metal Zorro lets a fireball loose.
And what a time to jump in from Darkfellow, fully anticipating the fireball from Metal Zorro. And I will admit, that fireball, once it's out, you do have ample time to jump in on her, and she's not going to hit you at that angle.
Yeah, exactly, right? Just a great call out from DF, really. Darkfellow Ready and willing to apply more pressure. Gets the crush counter this time. That's the duff he was really looking for.
And again, this full sequence into the corner from Darkfella is great. Trying to bait out any sort of normal. Yeah, that's more than enough. Darkfella is going to be taking game number 1 into the bathhouse.
I like the timing on that game, too. Right as the DP hit. That's the delivery I'm looking for from my commentators. You know what I'm saying?
About.
Good stuff to Darkfella right there. Yeah, just really never giving Jury any type of breathing room. No reprieve. Every time she was trying to load up, even when she did, a lot of the time he just made it kind of nullified the existence of those tools.
Mm-hmm. You really see Darkfella really starting to get into his rhythm. You kind of see it in that first round. Metsuzoru kind of got away with some very interesting nuances of Jury, right? Trying to get the fireball game going while also following it up with the flip kick. Get out of here! What are you charging for? You can't do that, but funny enough, Metsuzoru actually got the fireball storage.
He did. He just paid for it with a fire uppercut. That was wild. Ooh, does get the neutral jump now. That's big dividends being paid out. Oh, no. And then he confirms the cross medium punch this time. One away from stun. Oh.
More than enough. Darkfella. Look at the amount of meter. We knew it was going to lead to a victory in the round, but we were anticipating how much meter it was going to build.
Yeah, double back throw to end it. I mean, you can't ask for much more.
Whew, that was like, I think more than, or a little bit under half, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
Sheesh.
Oh,
the conversions off the jab. You love to see the intricacies of Ken's specialists. That's what I'm liking.
Yeah, that was really awesome. Honestly, utilizing that EX Tatsu as well for the corner carry and the consistent conversion. Oh, no. Oh, V-shift, though. Not hard calling it out, so does get some space because of it. Oh, and another crush counter stand heavy punch.
Ooh, yeah, I like that. Great time to bust out Metsuzoru now.
Landed on the fireball, but no follow-up here. V-reversal as soon as you push the pressure.
Oh, no. Dash up now, getting full control of the Oki. Overhead will not be more than enough. Yeah, again, he went for the overhead, but it wasn't going to kill. Gives Darkfellow another chance at life. It was a good idea to go for the overhead, but there was just a little bit extra. The magic pixel prevails.
Oh, as it usually does. As it usually does. Every Tuesdays at 7 p.m., you know what I'm saying? But besides that, that's for another time and another place. We just see, again, you can't give a character like Ken that many chances, right? He's
no,
very
not at
explosive,
all.
Yeah. And in a scenario like that, you're just leaving damage on the table. And Ken's, trust me, as a former Ken player myself, you leave us situations like that, that's where we thrive. That's the exact type of situations the Kens want. Nothing left to lose, then there's balls to the wall, and we're going to make any decision we want. And that's what the Ken did there, converted for the full CA, and that's death.
And that's the thing, as us Jury players, we got to make sure every hit counts because there isn't too many conversions we get that leads to a lot of damage, but rather we get to set ourselves up defensively. But for the most part, we didn't get to see that at all from Metsuzoru. Again, he was playing the cat and mouse game primarily, cat and mouse game for majority of the games or majority of the rounds that he's played. So DF, again, being the first candidate from loser's side to make it into the top 8. You'll love to see it, especially when that man mains Ken in top 8.
I can't wait to see that. I definitely love to see Ken, and we're going to see him tomorrow as well, of course. But this has been a great top 16 so far. I do believe we're going to a break, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct,
okay.
yeah.
So thank you, everyone, for joining us right here on twitch.tv/CapcomFighters. Do not go anywhere. We got 3 more matches left for top 16 to see who gets in the top 8. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone, once again to twitch.tv/Capcom Fighters. Thank you all for joining us through our top 16 today. And here, we have arrived at the conclusion. I am Ringe, this is Vicious, and we got 3 more matches to go, of course. We already have our top 8 winners set, but we got to see who's going to make our top 8 losers bracket. You can see DF already there. Darkfella defeated Metal Zorro, as well as defeating Lord Ahmed, as well in the very first round of losers bracket to ride that momentum all the way to a top 8 appearance tomorrow. But we still got Volcano Rosso versus Nerzul, UAE 2020 versus Betty Best, and of course Night Masters versus Assume to conclude things today.
Oh, yeah. And this is great, right? We have our last 3 sets to round off round 2 to see who's going to be in that top 8. Nerzul versus Volcano Russell. Let me break it down for you guys real quick. Big Bird versus Volcano Russell happened in the winner's side, right? Big Bird took it down after mentally breaking Volcano Russell in a very significant match, right? It did turn out 2-0, but I got to say, Volcano Russell, if you pay attention to that match, he was definitely taking down Big Bird offensively. But there was just one slight mishap, right? And it was a sweep. Sweep was the one that did it. That was the culprit that took down Volcano Russell. With that in mind, I feel like the mental recovery he's taken, like he had to take a break from that to kind of reset the situation. Seeing the potential of his offense and the way he reads his opponent leads to a big challenge for Nerzul, who also was kind of shaky against Ice Candy Zeku, but happened to prevail with a character like Nikali. It sets us up for a very great match and a great storyline because, again, Volcano Russell, we saw the little glimmers of brilliance with that Guile, whereas Nerzul starting to find his own rhythm, starting to get through some of the hurdles mentally and really show out his prowess in the losers around 2.
Yeah. We'll see if Nerzul can keep it going with that Nikali, right? Definitely was able to kind of play a compact and safe game, and that's what you really need to do in a scenario like this where the pressure is on and it's so easy to fall into a scramble and start swinging for the fences and trying to really get your offense back on track. But Nikali, you can't really do that, I think, as easily as you once were able to, right? So now it requires a little bit more compact, a little bit more smarter decision-making, utilization of the V-shifts and clutch scenarios and stuff like that because of that V-trigger change. But like as you said on the other side, Volcano Rosso was more than capable of beating Big Bird. He definitely could have taken the set.
He really was. It could have been pretty much even at that point, but Volcano going with the poison pick instead.
I see. I mean, it's along the line of the character archetype that you would follow with Guile, right? One of those defensive characters, got a lot of range here, and he's going to be trying to bully Nikali in the neutral, as we see.
And this is one of the key tools of the neutral is that V skill coming from Nikali, right? If Poison can read it correctly, he can go, or Volcano Russell can go for some sort of like whip trade to benefit Poison way more often than not. So Volcano Russell really has to be keen about that.
That's a good point. Wow, I'm surprised he's using the EX flip kick already. Really looking for that V-skill 1 nice and early. Oh, yeah, and then tick throw pressure. Iceberg slim real quick, +2 afterwards. Oh, throw bait into the throw.
Big counter hit conversion off of that from Volcano Russell, making a great... I love seeing that, by the way. That animation is cool.
The flip kick?
No, just leaving V-skill or V-trigger 1. Sorry to digress. But man, you see him just kind of like lose his power level and go back to regular Nikali. That was the most anime transition I've seen, and I gotta say, that was cool.
Yeah, the 10 minutes are up, the hair goes back down.
Yeah, that was sick. Oh no!
Yeah, that was unfortunate on the EXDP, and now baited out. Oh no, the stun bar is going. Oh,
he's chasing him down. We were talking about these reads for Volcano Russell. He is in his head right now.
Bro, how you just gonna cartwheel and then dash forward reading the V shift? That was wild. EXDP gets some space, but we waking up with jab.
How do you
the overhead?
That?
Wow, impressive.
These guys are actually awake. These guys are wide awake.
Unlike us. We got the anti-air, and then we got the throw bait and punish. I mean, it is 5 a.m. for us, so we got an excuse. 1-0 for Volcano Rosso.
Man, who reads that?
Yeah, like that was, I can't believe, because like, especially because he cartwheeled beforehand. Like, how do you just get a cartwheel into the corner?
He put himself into the corner. He's like, whoop, I'm out of here. I took a wrong turn. My bad. No, I didn't. This is where I parked my car.
Flip the UE. It was the Google Maps didn't update in time. It was like, oh, I have to turn around.
There's no reception in there, man. Yeah. Chinatown has some of the worst reception, at least the LA one.
Most definitely, right? Can't find parking, can't find my way out. But either way, we got the hard knockdown off that crush counter. Nice. We're going to challenge, though. And that's been Volcano Rosso's game, man. He's just been successfully challenging. Ner'Zhul's not really been able to build a lot of momentum.
Oh, yeah, that's the momentum he needs right there. Do it again. Oh, come on, man. Do the anti-air. Love me tender. Way past the V-skill. I like that from Volcano Russell.
Oh, no, and then the V-reversal too far. Not with punish, though. So getting away with a little bit. Still has some great life.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Ner'Zhul finally waking up.
Yeah, you see, you try to get that +2 on the whiff throw, but instead just eats the big V-trigger.
Oh! You thought you could command grab me? I'll command grab you instead.
Yep, and then that V-trigger is gone now at the very least, so no more threat from a long-range command grab, no more additional damage, but she doesn't need any more additional damage. Volcano Rosso round the way from top 8.
She is such a great character to keep aggressive characters out of her territory. And Volcano Russell taking full advantage of that. And again, if you aren't trying to trade with the whip, if you can predict the V-skill, just jump in.
Yeah, right? You get a huge reward as we just saw there.
Man has blocked so many Love Me Tenders.
He really, again. Yeah, he's done a great job blocking the EX Love Me Tender, right? Of course, an overhead. Again, these V-reversals, you got to be real careful V-reversaling these long-range characters because it'll just whiff if you're not in range.
There it is. Go. That's an excellent time to do it in a plus situation against the whip, the heart rate.
Finally, he finds an EX flip kick.
That was cheating. He was already moving forward. We don't count those. We see you, Ner'Zhul. But Volcano, again, with a hefty life lead, doesn't have to take any unnecessary risks.
But we got the low. Wow, double stomp into the critical art. That did not work.
That's not how it works.
But he will EX whip. Not going to be quite the damage he needs, but the meaty crouch jab catches whatever Ner'Zhul wanted to do on wake up. I think he was a little frustrated by that critical art dropping, that combo kind of having a mishap, so he probably wanted to wake up, take his turn back, but he wasn't going to let him have that. Volcano Rosso too solid.
I don't think it works that way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, that's a little bit of frustration there setting in from Ner'Zhul.
Yeah, I think so. And it was a frustrating matchup to play, right? Because Nakali is one of those characters where he's just trying to get in on the ground a lot of the time.
get in there!
Just trying to get in. Like, dash or walk, however may have you. And, he can have that V-skill to work with sometimes. But as you mentioned, most of the time the trades are going to go in Poison's favor. And we didn't even really see trades. A lot of the time he just got the raw reads and jumped in and punished him heavily. So definitely a tough matchup for Nakali. I can see why the frustration set in. But at a level like this, you got to do something to try to mentally reset yourself because Volcano Rosso is going to be too good and he's just going to make it that much harder for you once you tilt. So.
I mean, this is a character who got second place in one of the online qualifiers back in 2019, right? The person that sent him there in the first place was Big Bird. And again, Big Bird continued to do so in this qualifier. So you could understand the caliber of player that Volcano Russo is playing at. Like his caliber of play is definitely in the upper echelon of top players. So for his region. So he's going to be moving on into top 8 to face off against Darkfella tomorrow as we move on into UAE 2020 versus Benny Best. And I do believe that is it was an Abigail, but we saw Ryu come from UAE first. And then, of course, Benny Best rocking the jury.
The jury, that's right. So, yeah. We'll see what he starts off with. As you mentioned, the Ryu was the starting character last time. And I can understand why Ryu is often the starting character, right? The solid one. He has the DP, the fireball. If you want to play safe, want to see what your opponent's going to bring to the table, I think Ryu is a very solid choice. But sometimes you don't even want to give your opponent that opportunity, right? Sometimes you're like, you know what? I'm just going to pick Abigail like I'm going to do right now and not let Jury get any offense started, period. How about I just use these big normals, an EX run or two while she's trying to wind up and just baby toss and just ride that momentum to victory.
Now, I will say with Benny Best, though, we saw how he performed against Plus Ultra. This is a whole different kind of jury play, right? A little bit more meticulous, too, with the way he wants to get his offense going. And a lot more patient to read the opponent. Now, again, very important to get those anti-airs. It's very fundamental.
Yeah. Oh, he tried to run the parry back, but Benny Best not going to let him do it twice. Oh, punishes the V-shift as well, but oh, no. Kicked. Right back to the corner now. Oh, this is an intense song, bro.
Yeah, that's the Abigail theme. Yeah, catching with the lows and making full use of that to get the V-skill. I like that option from Benny Best. Very smart. Makes it safe. And a very delayed DP, but it's just fine. Throw bait with the flip kick. He's done that so many times in previous matches.
And then again, the empty jump into the throat to catch the parry attempt, and then we get the meaty crouch light kick. Get off me.
This is looking more like a bonus stage for Benny Best beating up one of the cars.
For real. See how many points he can rack up here.
Except the car is going to be punching back very soon. UAE is just biding his time.
Let's see. Oh,
Another
nice
one.
anti-air again. Tries to wake up with a throw, but not finding any type of defensive correct decision. Again, now we're just winding up, get that fireball out, just annoying from long distance. I love this jury game.
Oh, and gets a throw instead before the fireball even reaches. And critical art intact. You already know it's Benny's best.
That's how you switch up the rhythm right there. I love it. Annoying him with the lane play and then going in on the offense, but we do have a V-trigger activation. Oh.
No, the one time you needed to uppercut. Here comes UAE. Oh, yeah, Benny best. V-shift out of danger.
And that's definitely one of the primary places people like to use V-shift, right? It's like, okay, the momentum's starting to build for the opposing opponent. My stun is starting to get built up. Let's deplete it. Let's get the V-shift going, right? You can hard call it out, but again, it's just a new system mechanic that people aren't used to taking into account yet. So not really accounting for it there, and therefore getting him out of the position he did not want to be in.
And Benny best, right? It's having that in mind, that kind of... what's the word I'm looking for? Either way, having that in mind after getting jumped in on and missing a pivotal uppercut, that's signs of a strong mental player, right? He's like, all right, I got hit by one thing. I have to plan for the future now. I have to make sure I don't get hit anywhere else against someone like Abigail.
I thought Benny Best made a lot of quick adjustments, a lot of smart adjustments too, so definitely a good point to highlight. Wow, V-shift able to get him out for now. And yeah, I love this. Again, Benny Best is like, all right, bro, if you're going to V-shift away, that's more space for me to load up.
Again, this has been all Benny Best for the most part. UAE has been very, very much so jumping in on Jury for most of the round, right? He's opted to settle for this choice of offense.
Yeah, we haven't really seen like many flip attempts. There's one, but ends up being Aaron. And yeah, we haven't seen any EX runs or anything.
Not yet, yeah. Benny Best is just taking full advantage of this, right? Just really dictating the pace, putting on a clinic. The one time the flip comes out, Benny Best tried to uppercut, just wasn't in time. Another flip.
Now, speaking of flips, we got EX flip kick from Jury. Oh, yep, he already activated.
Oh, giant whip punish. If that was a command grab, it was over.
Yeah, that's a huge opportunity. Oh, no, commits to the flip. That's not going to be safe, my friend. Benny Best, one round away from top 8.
I didn't block that either.
The flip?
No way.
Benny Best showing why he's in top 16 on the verge of top 8.
It's in his name. Okay. I don't know about all that. That crouching heavy punch, nothing to kind of back it up either. No cancels. I guess he was trying to go for like an empty jump kind of throw bait with it, trying to get a crush counter.
And now loading up again. Oh, tries to get to the other side.
He tried to anti-air that. But instead, gets away with an EX uppercut. UAE, again, opting to go for the jump-ins a lot of the time, primarily as his choice. Oh, Maple Leaf Crusher.
Yeah, unfortunate. Oh, no, but he dashes the throw. Benny Best again. Oh, nice confirm off that as well. Had the EX ready. Throw bait with the EX flip kick. On the verge of stun at this point. Does chase her down. Catches her grounded, too.
And goes for the double sweep. The back throw is there. No meaties intact. And Benny Best nice and easy with the overhead that kills. And from that distance, I feel like it would have been very difficult for Abigail to punish. But either way, not a lot being taken from the situations of V-Trigger from Abigail, right? For the most part, trademark Abigails, we've seen so many highlight clips where it's like, oh man, here comes a V-Trigger sequence. There's going to be a lot of damage. We didn't get to see that from UAE, unfortunately. He did not even have those opportunities.
Yeah, and that's where the matchup really needed to blossom for the Abigail here in this particular match, because a lot of the time, Benny Best had neutral control, right? He was doing a great job playing that hit-and-run style that Jury is known for, really annoying the opponent by getting the fireballs, dashing in front of them, dashing away from them, just really trying to throw off his rhythm. So when you're in that scenario like that, when you get that knockdown, when you get that V-Trigger activation as Abigail, that's the character, man. If you're playing that character, you're betting on you getting one knockdown and then winning the entire match off of it, right? So that's just how the cookie crumbles, man. If you're not going to be able to capitalize that heavily off that scenario, you're going to start losing in neutral against the Jury. And, I mean, we've seen Benny Best just completely be solid. Took down Plus Ultra 2-0, took down UAE 2-0. He just has a very, as you mentioned, patient and quick to adjust Jury.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Yeah, he's taken into account the options that his opponent presents, and at least he still tries to adjust to it. He is going to take a couple hits towards it. Like when UAE started using a lot more Abigail flips rather than jump-ins, he was still trying to anti-air them. Like he took that damage. He's like, all right, well, I'm still assessing the situation. I just have to tighten up my timing, but I'm still willing to make these adjustments, and that's something that he's going to need to continue doing into top 8, especially with these next 2 players, right? Assume and Night Masters being our final 2 players to see who makes it into top 8. Who will our 8th candidate be between these 2?
Yes, indeed. I can't wait. It's going to be our last match for the top 16 Middle East today, of course. And then we got top 8 tomorrow. Same time, same place, so you don't got to worry about switching the dial or anything like that. Just tune in like you did today. But, of course, yeah, we still got the 1 spot to decide. And we're going to see if Zoom could ride that momentum. And, I mean, I don't know if everybody's done it so far, but we have had a lot of the people that have started in top 16 losers round 1 make it all the way to top 8. They've been really converting that momentum from the losers round 1 all the way through, right? Darkfella did. I'm not sure.
Actually, well, yeah, so Darkfella actually started off in losers, but Meto actually had an unfortunate start against GTR with that jury play and then fell short again into Darkfellow. Darkfellow, again, I'd have to say he's been showing off really well with that Ken play, to be quite honest with you. And I think it was just like a mismatch, like a mismatch of talent with Darkfella. I mean, Metal Zorro, again, making it into the top 16, no easy feat. But I got to say, Darkfella, he was showing off some really solid Ken play overall in terms of fundamentals and showing what he's about in terms of, like, adapting to the players. Okay, I was kind of throwing it back a little bit. I saw G and Ibuki from Night Masters and Assume. But yeah, for the most part, you are correct. Yeah, so
because Benny Best also started in losers, right? But
Yeah.
Volcano Rosso did start in winners and made
Yeah.
it. So yeah, we'll see if we can split between the losers, making it all the way to top 8. Oh,
he still gets it.
yeah, he
Okay.
did. He did get the level 2 president still. So they have that
no.
enhanced fireball.
This is going to be tough. Assume we haven't seen his Ibuki yet. We did see very impressive play from him with that Rashid, but
Yes.
we'll see how it plays out.
This is some intel we have, though, right? He had 4 characters on deck, the Books being one of them. Oh, yeah, that was a long distance on that rush punch, so just buffering behind it.
Dialed right in there with that stand short, and here comes Assume now, getting the knockdown into the throw, and that was very ambiguous.
For
Night Masters
real.
did not even want to try. Oh, yeah, punish the target combo. Here comes Night Masters. Charges up for the presidency. And the command grab.
Level 2 command grab as well. Yeah, it's going with the old school combo right there. Not even
Do it
prioritizing
again.
the level up. One more time with it. Gets the stun. Power up as well into the level 3 president. Oh my goodness. Going to put her on life support now.
And building some meter instead of going for the knockdown into damage. You might regret it in the morning. The mix!
Oh my
You're mixed!
He did Assume taking full advantage of that one opportunity given and takes the round for it. Night Masters had the opportunity to anti-air. The Crouch Fierce would have been enough damage to take the round, but just kept it in the holster and paid for it. He who hesitates is lost.
Bars. Don't you dare assume on my man Assume. He's going to use all of that critical art to make that comeback happen. Night Masters cannot let that happen again, and you see him taking full advantage. Gil within range.
The spacing on these command throws has been so perfect. They're right outside light range, so Assume cannot be pressing back with these light punch and light kick buttons.
Ooh, that was very tricky play. And I like that. So, you know, he wanted to finish off his play earlier in round 1, but instead went for the tricky stuff, got some meter, but now is a huge difference. He's like, yeah, I do have a significant life lead, near perfect. I'm still going to spend this critical art.
Yeah, he's prioritizing the kill above all else, right? He's like, look, I gave you an opportunity last time. You made the most of it. I'm not going to try to give you an opportunity going forward. Probably not even going to let you play this last round.
Yeah, that critical art, again, was just too much for Ibuki to bear. Like, again, with that much of a life lead, you were just beating down the opposition. It was actually a one-round TKO.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like the hard parts about playing fighting games, right? Especially Street Fighter in a scenario like this. Is like once that life deficit is there, the opponent can just chill out, man. They could just walk back and force you to take a lot of risks. Of course, G, he could like do like a rush punch and a V trigger, try to really get wild in there and whatnot, but it's still very hard against the players that we are seeing, the caliber of players that we're seeing.
Sure. Yeah, again, one of those things we saw from Assume, right, making or taking full advantage of the resources he had at that moment in time. He's like, all right, this is where the mental game kicks in. I'm going to get this opening for this V trigger, and I'm going to have him so pressed on defense, thinking that he's going to have to block the same side. I'm going to take a risk and go on to the other side with a mix-up and take full advantage of that with that critical art. And again, that's the best time to let those mix-ups rock, right? Is when you think, yeah, I have the life lead. I'm just going to chill and just hold back to block. Oh, yeah, Ibuki doesn't let you do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Ibuki is definitely the kind of character to not let you do that.
Yeah, and that's what we saw, right? He's like, okay, I'm going to go back. And I mean, he had the opportunity, right? The jumping came out of the corner. He did not commit to anything on the ground. He wasn't whiffing a big button. He wasn't committed to fireball. He had the opportunity to press that crouch fierce, and he didn't. And again, Assume, very good. We've already seen elite level with a plethora of characters. You don't want to give an explosive character like a Buki on top of that the opportunity to come back, and she's going to. And that's one of the things I think that I struggle with as a player a lot of the time is that when I have the life lead, I rest on my laurels a little bit too much. I walk back. I just kind of let the opponent do what they want. And when the opponent is at a life deficit like that, they often have nothing to lose, right? So it's like they're going in and they are going to like make these hard reads, and they know that you're kind of defensive. You don't want to give that life lead away, and they prey upon that. So a lot of the time, even when you're in that life lead, we see players kind of mix it up because, as you said, that's the one time you're expected to just walk back, right? You got this big old life lead. Why are you going to go in on me? That's the best time to go in on them is because they're not expecting it.
That is the full definitive experience of a man going crazy. Like, again, you have to play that defense. Just hold back to block, because if you don't, you're going to get smoked, right? You're going to get smoked by something wild because, again, being at that deficit, it kind of gives you that sense of urgency. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to die soon. I have to make sure I make it count.
Straight up.
You live your best life after that.
So, yeah, and that's what we really see, right, a lot of the time is these players kind of utilizing this rhythm switch, kind of preying upon the opponent's expectations. That's what we saw with the jury. Benny Best really did a great job kind of closing out rounds like that, as a lot of the time was he'll back up and throw the fireball and then just back up. But then after a couple of times of doing that, he'll throw the fireball and then dash in or jump in, right? Just to make sure he throws the rhythm off of his opponent. And that's something that jury specifically is really good at. So, but in general, I think is a lot of the time what these top-level players do in scenarios where their opponent's expecting them to do one thing.
So now we're kind of just waiting a little bit between Assume and Night Masters. Again, we are having a little slight technical difficulty between the two, as you may have noticed. It wasn't G just punching Ibuki off the screen. I promise you that. But for the most part, it was tied up. Again, Night Masters spending full on critical art for that round. And again, it was one of those things where he had the life lead. He only got touched like a bit and a half, like maybe two light attacks at most when it comes to the life taken down from his bar. But Assume didn't have any meter, right? It was one of those situations where it's like, okay, now you can kind of flex a little bit. Don't spend the critical art there as much as we encourage it. Like if it kills, go for the kill, right? But I think there was other options you could have done, like maybe EX Rush Punch or anything.
Definitely. It was funny because it was definitely one of those supers that got spent because of the trauma that happened to him in round one. 100%, right? He was like, okay, not going to give her a single opportunity. Whatever I have to do, whatever I have to spin to kill her, I'm not going to let what happened in round one happen again.
Yeah, but then you put yourself at a disadvantage going into the next round because you saw the side of Assume on the bottom right. He had about like a bar and a half to make moves happen. And you're thinking about Ibuki, start of round 3. There are a good amount of options she has, especially with Kunai. Kunai is the option to look forward. On the ground, very dangerous. You can convert it into damage, get yourself Oki, get yourself just the momentum in general. It's even harder when it comes to the airborne approach because you have to anticipate EX Kunai, be ready to block, or you have to just take her jumping in on you. No time for you to anti-air.
Yeah, and that's something that I honestly didn't bring up when I was kind of lamenting the lack of the crouch fierce on that one round, right? Is that at the same time, that kunai is always looming there, right? So it is a little bit tougher to anti-air Ibuki than some of the other characters that don't have a way to alter their air trajectory. So that is a good point to bring up as well. We'll see if that plays into more of a factor. We already saw the ground kunai come out as soon as he leveled up, right? We saw him try to prioritize the level 2, which he did get, but he ate some damage for it along the way. So Ibuki's always going to have that option as well from long distance.
Yeah, so that was... man, when I saw that happen, the kunai was a great idea to kind of stop the charge of the presidentiality level. But I mean, yeah, Assume had the right idea, but Night Master is like, yeah, I mean, I'll take that. That's fine with me. I still get it. Like, you lose one bit of your resource, I'm taking a little bit of damage. But in the grand scheme of things, G came out the winner in that exchange.
100%. Just
a small little tidbit in that kind of matchup. But for the most part, we're thinking about G and Ibuki going into it again, I'd imagine, to kind of just go back into the match as we get them ready with a slight mishap. But I'm thinking about it now. There were certain instances with G, whilst in Presidentiality level 3, that I saw from Night Masters, where he was kind of going for some of the old school stuff or the older combo routes, and going for the charge, or not charge up, but he was just going for like the speech to get some critical art going for them. I wanted to see him go for the new stuff, the new buffs, being able to go between level 2 rush punches into like wheel kicks as well if he wanted to into level 3 dash punches too. There's like a whole full-on sequence where he gets significantly more damage in the corner.
Yeah, so once you get level 3 Max President, now you can actually choose to use the lesser versions of the special moves, right? Which actually does grant you bigger combos because of that level 2 wheel kick, as you mentioned. It gives more juggle points, while the level 3 wheel kick is the big flame that kind of ends the combo period. So it's really cool to see like the level 2 wheel kick get thrown into like the level 3 rush punches. That's like the maximum combo routes. But
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
So for the most part, we have seen Assume and Night Masters. They did end up playing the rest of their game, so we're going to take a look at the results. Let's see what happens. Again, it's pretty much tied up.
Okay. So it looks like actually we're not watching a game. It looks like we're going to replay the whole first game.
Oh.
No. No, you were right.
Okay.
Mother base. That's my bad. Mistranslation. No, right.
I thought I heard it the other way too. I was like, wait a minute.
Okay.
I think you might be right. But either way, so we are going to see like the replay of it. Again, we saw what transpired in the first 2 rounds between the two. It was Assume getting the first round, and then it was Night Masters getting the second round.
I see.
We're going to see what happened in the rest of that set, or at least
I think we're going to watch the whole game. So we're going to see those first 2 rounds that we saw, and then we're going to see the third round that we did not see. So yeah, let's highlight some of the things that we talked about here in round 1 and 2 regarding these players, right?
Now we get to see, knowing full well what has happened already, at least for the first 2 rounds.
Yeah. So take a ride with us here, viewers, as we kind of put on our analyst hats, because we've already seen this round, right? So we saw the kunai get stuffed right there. But again, the level 2 president, as you mentioned, is definitely going to be in G's favor, right? It's just overall a net victory for him.
And you see Night Masters kind of going for the buffer game immediately afterwards. And then you see Assume, taking full advantage of that with the jump in. That's kind of like a big signal. It's like Night Masters is willing to play this ground game of buffer normal. I want to see what he does in response to my air approach.
Yeah, and then we talked about that, right? That max range blocking on the rush punch. That's going to give G a beautiful buffer window. Just kind of the perfect spacing for people trying to approach after.
And so Assume knowing the objective is to get rid of the presidentiality level as much as possible, but took a risk with the side switch, thinking Night Masters wasn't going to block it, committed to the target combo, and this is where it kind of leads to his downfall, for the most part.
Yeah, and this is what you mentioned, right? He's taking this is the traditional level 2 president route, and then he got the level 3 after that because of the stun, and this is that moment where he could have anti-aired here, but he didn't, right? Yeah, and then that was it, right?
Yeah.
As soon as that happened, he tried to V-reversal, it was blocked, and then he got mixed, and it was all over.
The classic case of when keeping it real goes wrong.
Most definitely. He was trying to keep it real. He was trying to respect all her air options, but that happens. Tried for a V-reversal. He figured it would be safe, right? I blocked the move. I V-reversal. It's all good. But no, Night Masters, as soon as he got that window of opportunity, made sure it shut on his fingers.
Yeah, and we talked about that too, right? The reason why Night Masters was so reluctant to anti-air in that one instance is because Assume was still within range to get an air EX kunai.
Yep, exactly. And see, that's beautiful stuff right there. Using the EX at the end to juggle as well. Level 2,
the max distance, just knowing full well where the command grab will hit, right?
Yeah.
And getting that full-on presidentiality level powered up.
Yeah, I loved his spacing on this. And then that was a little bit of a scramble scenario, right? That kind of wheel kick whipping at the end right there. And then Night Masters, I think, just kind of taking advantage of the fact that it was a little funky and just meeting with the jab. So now, let's get back into it. It's going to be our 3rd round. I don't know who won this first game. Vicious don't know who won this first game.
No idea.
Let's see. I did not know about this costume code with the hat.
I didn't even know he had a hat.
I did not know about this.
Real funky.
I like it a lot. Ooh. Oh, wow. Challenging after that kunai. But there we go. Man. The air kunai finally rearing its head.
And I like to interrupt on the command dash from Night Masters, fully aware of what Ibuki's capable of. Okay, gets the charge up.
Yep, trying to reversal that jump in again. Keep her locked in this corner here. Does get the level 2. Level 2 again. He actually tried for command
throw. Again.
If at first you don't succeed, listen to Aaliyah and try again.
To the earth. Light it up. He definitely does have the power of Gaia. That man command grabbed you to the ends of the earth with that.
Yes, sir. Night Masters now 1 game away from moving into top 8. That last spot. I did not know about that hat. That's wild, bro. He is truly 70s.
I have never seen it until today. That is great. But I will say, Assume had the right idea getting out of the command grab, but how are you going to stop this man from doing it again? Well, imagine if he took, just imagine how it plays out. If Assume were to jump over again and then lands, and then gets command grabbed for a 3rd time. I would have turned off both my PC, my PlayStation 4. I would have walked outside to touch some grass instead of stressing because I'm just thinking about life at that point. It's so difficult. If you were to get command grabbed again, all of you would have definitely just been like, hey, it was a great time.
It's time for some introspection. I gotta do some soul searching after that.
A little bit.
Oh man, that was good stuff for sure. The G, you gotta stay persistent. Staying persistent with the command grabs right there. And I mean, yeah, that was a good job by the Ibuki, right? Assume was looking for. He did the crouch light kick into the command grab. Was just expecting him to stay on the ground, and he didn't. But again, these scrambly scenarios, that's what really separates the elite from the people that are falling just short, is being able to convert optimally in these weird scenarios where you have a lot of pressure on you and things aren't playing out how you want them to. So that was really good stuff from Night Masters.
Right. Yeah, so Night Masters up a game, looking to advance over Assume. Thing is, Assume now has a wheel of options to go through. Ibuki being one of the characters he's shown off already. Rashid, also another great character that he's shown off, does have Sim and Zeku left on the board. Now it's a matter of whether or not he sticks with Ibuki or opts to go for another character.
I feel like he's going to go back to the Rashid. I think Rashid will do decent in the matchup, but we're seeing it. We'll see right now. See the character select. Oh,
it's the Zeku.
I'm down for this, of course.
And these are your boys right here. Zeku versus G. This isn't the first time we've seen it either today.
Exactly. Night Masters fought Angry Bird, who used Zeku as well. So maybe Assume try and take a page out of that playbook. And I mean, how salty will Night Masters be losing to 2 Zekus, right? So you definitely know he's going to try to prevent that at all costs.
Oh, such a sharp angle. I mean, not much young Zeku can do about that, so good awareness from Night Masters to take full advantage of that.
Yeah, that's, I think, touted as the big weakness of young Zeku is his anti-air game. Has the light shoulder, has some jump normals, but not as strong as you would like.
Right. Now Assume switching into old Zeku, being able to play that ranged game a little bit more consistently, but obstacle for the young immediately after seeing G show off his presidentiality level. And again, that was the objective. He wanted to go into young to get rid of that level and now go into full offense.
Ooh, blocked the empty low right there, and he actually committed to the light shoulder with no punish.
Prepare yourself for this anti-air getting stuffed.
Oh no, it looked like he was kind of greedy right there. Maybe went with the back fierce, wanted the big anti-air damage, but instead that was too slow.
That was rough. That was actually rough. Again, Night Masters had the right idea. Reacting to the airborne approach against Assume, just the wrong choice of buttons.
Yeah. Oh, waking up with the jabs though. Yeah, double up on the light confirm.
Yeah, if you haven't shown the media yet, like, I'm going to keep pressing these buttons. Yeah, does it again. You better check me. You better check me. I'm going to keep waking up with lights.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, actually canceling into the wheel kick right there. Just dash in his face. Resets with the command
That was
throw.
the most G sequence I've ever seen. He's going to... Oh, yeah, he's going to bait him out. Ugh. Nasty time.
Yeah, baits out the DP perfectly. Back throw. Give me full meter to go into this next round.
And that is an important way to start this match point game. Oh, boy.
Wow, the raw rush punch at the start actually catching out the EX flip.
Oh, yeah, trying to power up in front of me? No, sir. Assume getting a decent punish. I mean, he could have gone for a back throw, but either way, Night Masters now. Oh!
Yeah, just continue with the jabs, but no sequence afterwards. We get the cross up, and now Assume has the corner.
Again, Night Masters had gotten so much mileage out of these light confirms, right? Assume has not kept it tight enough for him to stop pressing buttons.
Yeah, he's going to activate the V-trigger while V-shift gets away. Oh, I'm surprised he didn't hold up back on that jab.
Faked me out. I thought he was going to go for the wall jump the first time.
Oh, and again, Night Masters has been conditioning so much with the command throw, just stays with the jabs, catching Assume, trying to press buttons afterwards, and instead he will be pressing his way home, actually, because he is out of the tournament, and our man Night Masters is our last competitor in top 8 for tomorrow.
Big congratulations. Again, one of the players that came in from the winner's side facing off against Angry Bird in that Zeku matchup. Sweet, sweet justice for him moving into the top 8, defeating a Zeku player as well as a Rashid, an Ibuki, and a Dulcine player.
Yeah.
He got all 4 of them down in one stroke. That's great. That's great for him.
For sure, right? You're going to be very happy to have all those characters off your plate going into tomorrow. And just in general, that big relief, because Night Masters, he had the toughest spot of the day, right? He was the person that lost in the very first match, and you don't get to play again until the very last match of the day. So Night Masters was able to stay warm throughout that, maintain his mental composure and take that W home, defeating the character that put him in the losers bracket in the first place. Definitely, as you said, vindication for Nightmasters going into top 8 tomorrow, as you see the way the top 16 broke down. Of course, Darkfella defeating Lord Ahmed and as well as Metal Zorro to make it. We got Volcano Rosso, who fell in the winner side of the bracket to, I believe, Big Bird, going to be able to make it into the top 8 as well. And of course, Benny Best coming from losers, defeating Plus Ultra and UAE 2020. And then we got Assume falling just short to Nightmasters, who again lost to Angry Bird in winners, and now he will be in top 8 as well.
Yeah, so again, Benny Best versus Nightmasters is what you could expect for top 8. At least towards the end, right? Over at the top, Angry Bird versus Mature, Big Bird versus GTR. That's going to be pretty exciting just overall, right? The way that they've been playing, the momentum on their side, I'm going to be very excited to see how the Birds are going to stack up against both Mature and GTR. It should be a tag team fight, to be quite honest with you. That'd be pretty cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. You know, Mature, you mentioned, putting out a lot of content, definitely looks like a very solid Ryu player here in our top 8. And then on the other side of the bracket, GTR has been in a lot of clips with the Birds, right? He seems like a sparring partner of the Birds on the regular.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
He's going to be knowing their tendencies, their habits better than most players here in the bracket. And he's going to be representing Gil, right? We've seen the Gil very underrepresented in high-level play, so we'll see if the Birds are ready. Of course, they do play him on the regular, so if anybody's going to be ready, it will be them. But a person that's effective with Gil, I mean, you could be ready for the character and still get blown up. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, that's very true, especially with that V-skill, the parry. You never know what's going to happen. But again, that is our top 8. We've solidified the candidates for our Middle East qualifier, but we still have a lot more to talk about. When we return, we're going to break down some of our favorite matches and what you can expect for tomorrow here for the Capcom Pro Tour. Stay tuned. We have that all for you and more after this break.
Can't start a show without a star.
Main event!
Line it up. What a power to the earth!
See what I'm really made of.
Uh-oh. Pleased to meet you.
The honor was mine.
I'll settle this.
I'm shaking here.
Bow down before my psycho power.
Dan Hibiki, back after the ultimate improvement. Father! Psycho! What's up, what's up? See ya. No, you don't. Psycho! The legend has now begun. Burn this in your memory! Knock you Psycho! Whoosha! To honor father, Big Bro will do his best.
We've established our top 8 players for the Middle East qualifier here in the Capcom Pro Tour 2021. My name is Vicious here with Ringe. We're about to break down what happened in our top 16 that led us to our top 8 players, as well as what we could expect for tomorrow. Now, this is the portion where we kind of highlight some of our favorite matches. We were going through it before we went back on. I got to say, from the winner's side, it had to be Big Bird versus Volcano Rosso.
Yeah, Big Bird versus Volcano Rosso, I thought, was our best winner side match, really. Big Bird, you can see, was just highlighted, I think, his comfort level at the pressurized type of environment that we're in a tournament setting like this. He just was completely stubborn a lot of the time. We saw him make a couple of smart adjustments, but for the most part, stuck to his game plan because Volcano Rosso, despite playing a solid guile, was leaving these moments on the table that allowed Big Bird to kind of turn the momentum and just ride it all the way to victory. And that's really something that we talked about throughout the tournament tonight, is being able to pick these characters that require you to ride that momentum off that one knockdown and really make the most of it. I mean, Big Bird just highlights why he's an elite level player by doing that.
And I think Volcano Rosso was really put on the hot seat, right? There was a lot of history between these two players because back in 2019, Volcano Rosso was the one that got second place at an online qualifier for the Middle East, and the person who pretty much put him into losers that first time was Big Bird. So again, there was a lot of pressure going into it. You could kind of see the familiarity he had with Big Bird and Rashid, and some of the kind of glimpses of excellence that he had with his offensive pressure and just the overall reads, which he showed off in the loser side as well. You know that he has the potential to be on the winner's side. He had the potential to take down Big Bird this time, but it just didn't play out that way. Big Bird pretty much taken away the matches from Volcano Rosso, not only just with the character matchup, but just mentally, right? Didn't fall apart. We saw Volcano Rosso just kind of making a little bit of mistakes, significant ones, right? Yeah. Sweep from full screen while Rashid had the V trigger ready to just activate and punish. That was pretty huge, right?
Yeah, for sure. We really saw Volcano Rosso, I think, kind of over the course of the set, just get bothered by Big Bird's style of play and really how comfortable he was. You could see Volcano Rosso started swinging for the fences a little bit. Like you said, that ambitious sweep, whatever that ended up being, whether it was an execution error or whatever, you could tell it was just a lot of flustered feelings coming out from Volcano Rosso because of the way Big Bird was attacking him. And I mean, that's just what you have to expect. You have to do your best to not get overwhelmed by not only Rashid, but a player as aggressive as Big Bird.
As we move on into the loser side, we saw what transpired between each and every one of these matches, a lot of them into the 1-2 territory, but actually, I take that back. A lot more so in the 2-0 territory. Ringe, what was your favorite match?
Yeah, we started with a couple of 1-2s, right? And one of my favorite match in the loser bracket is one of the 1-2s. I would say it's Darkfellow versus Lord Ahmed. I really enjoyed that match. The Bison versus Ken, right? A lot of the time we saw Darkfella tried to just kind of overwhelm the Bison. I thought it was a good mix of kind of adjustments on both players' sides, though, because we saw Lord Ahmed really prioritize getting one of the fireballs and kind of utilizing that to get pressure behind them, right? Which we saw kind of open the door for Darkfella to play a little bit different. He risked some more jumps, just saw how much Lord Ahmed was prioritizing that ground game. And as soon as Darkfella got into the range where Psycho Axe wasn't really much of a threat anymore, Stand Heavy Punch wasn't really much of a threat anymore, he did a great job mixing them, and that's what you got to do as Ken, right? He did a great job mixing between the fake overhead going into the low, the overhead to seal rounds. He just really played Ken how you're supposed to, and I really wanted to highlight his usage of back medium punch. His back medium punch was real on point with the hit confirms and even kind of staggering the pressure a little bit. We saw one time where he let it rip on block, and it actually finally caught Lord Ahmed. Like the first time he actually swung after a back medium punch, it caught him swinging, and he was able to convert fully for a corner damaging combo.
I was trying to think about what the conversion was from Darkfellow. I don't know if it was like a full-on like counter hit confirm from him, because he did get the rest of the
DP.
Yeah. He got, it was a DP at the end of it, right? It wasn't like EX Fireball into DP. So that was raw. He actually got himself like a full-on confirm, baiting a button in between the target combo. He kind of conditioned him the first time. He's like, back medium punch. Let's see if you press the button, because it's not my turn. Yeah. And he does it again immediately afterwards. That was the kind of character specialist kind of thing I wanted to see from a Ken player, right? Because he's like, you can't just pick up Ken nowadays.
No.
I feel like that's the way that Darkfellow played, for sure he was a Ken main for a while.
Exactly, yeah. Especially because of situations like that. He had really good light confirms as well, right? We saw a lot of the time when he got the crouch light kick into the crouch light punch, always making sure to go to EX Tatsu, not only for the corner carry, but because that's the most consistent conversion that Ken can go with there. So yeah, just a very good knowledge of not only his character, but the character matchup as well. I thought it was fantastic from Darkfellow.
And so with that in mind, again, those were just some of the many games that we've highlighted. We highly encourage you guys to check out the VODs over on all streaming platforms. But for the most part, again, you do not want to miss some of the matches that we just highlighted and really kind of pick it apart yourselves to understand some of the nuances as to what happened in those matches. But we have our top 8 already established. Angry Bird versus Mature. It'll be very exciting to see. Big Bird versus GTR. Again, one of the biggest things we'd like to highlight is how much of a problem these contenders are going to give the Birds. And then down below, who do we have?
And then we got Night Masters versus Benny Best. Again, two phenomenal competitors. We saw Benny Best really making great adjustments on that jury. And, of course, Night Masters clutching it out in our very last match of the day. And then Volcano Rosso, who has gotten second place at a lot of the prestigious online tournaments for CPT, third place at these big tournaments. He's going to be trying to make his way through the loser's bracket, and he's got to go up against that Darkfellow Ken that we were just talking about to start that journey. So it's going to be intense matches from top to bottom, as it always is for the top 8 at CPT.
We hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves as we have each and every one of these events. And again, it does not stop here. There has been so many events to look forward to and other regions opening up for registrations, as you can take a look over on Capcom's website, capcom.us/EU-West1. Best believe it's gonna be the UK boys back in town. Registration closes June 7th. The stream happens June 12th and 13th. Mark your calendars now, because it's gonna be a bloodbath across the pond.
Oh man, it's gonna be so fun listening to them and be hype about their own region. You could see the next 3 events as they break down. We got the EU West 1 on June 12th, and a Midwest. We always know Midwest is very high for North America on June 19th, and then China all the way at July 10th. We got no event for a little while there. We're going to let you guys take a little bit of a breather till we get back with the China event on July 10th.
No event? What do you mean no event? What am I going to do that weekend?
I mean, there might be a couple other things in the works, you know what I'm saying?
I'm just going to play some Street Fighter. You know that's what's going to happen, and that's what we can expect from you guys as well. Again, do not go anywhere for tomorrow. Please make sure you tune in at the same time. We're going to be here. You guys are going to be there. It's going to be a great morning, at least for those in the States. But everywhere else, again, I hope you guys have been enjoying your days and all the Street Fighter V action. Winch, any parting words before we get into tomorrow?
Nah, man, as always, it was a pleasure commentating the top 16. Big ups to the players as per usual, and I can't wait to see top 8 tomorrow.
Sounds good, man. Until then, keep playing some Street Fighter. We'll see you for top 8 bright and early. Take care.